boy was subjected to thousands of drug experiments, transformed into a monstrous appearance, but he was blessed in disguise, obtaining an immortal body, and thus was favored by the immortal god, who attached itself to his body. At the same time, he gained the ability to plunder others' powers, and from then on embarked on the path to the pinnacle, after slaughtering the entire continent. Obsessed with the thrill of battle, just as he was about to rise above all living beings, he faced a final battle with the continent's remaining 5 great masters, but was sealed into a statue by them. After 3,000 years, he finally awakened from the seal, but the world he woke up to felt strangely unfamiliar, because this was GSP Planet, 50 million light-years from Earth. This place gathered creatures from all planets across the universe, and the 2 humans walking on the street appeared particularly cautious, simply because humans here were regarded as the lowest race. Soon enough, the 2 finally arrived safely at the GSP Elimination Arena. Every 100 years, a cosmic fighting championship is held here. All civilizations in the universe participate, and today is the first day of competition. The winning civilization's representative can not only improve their civilization's status in the universe, but also gain insight into the truth of the world, and completely liberate their civilization from disease, famine, war, and all other negative things. Ladies and gentlemen from across the universe, welcome. Welcome everyone to the GSP Fighting Elimination Tournament. The contestants this time are Agni from planet Ifrit, ranked 972nd in civilization, and Panin from planet Piglo, ranked 639th in civilization, will become the victor of preliminary Group 6. Let's wait and see. As the match began, the heat waves emanating from Agni's body instantly swept across the entire arena, while the cheering from the audience showed a completely one-sided situation. Obviously, in everyone's eyes, Agni would win this match without any doubt. Agni didn't disappoint everyone's expectations either, immediately releasing flame breath that could melt everything. The next second, the entire arena was filled with raging flames. Seeing this scene, worry appeared on the faces of the 2 Earthlings. It seems a level 1 civilization defeating a level 3 civilization is just wishful thinking. How would we humans fight against such monsters? It turns out they were Earth propaganda team staff members, here to find weaknesses in other biological civilizations to help improve Earth civilization representatives' chances. At this moment, Mark suddenly spoke up. Should we continue looking for weaknesses? It feels meaningless. Rena didn't deny this, but what made her unhappy was, not a single alien above level 3 civilization in this arena was taking this match seriously. She had thought this was a match that could change destiny, that everyone would be different from usual. But in the end, they simply didn't regard us level 1 civilizations as worthy opponents. Even so, there was still a child in the audience desperately cheering for Panin. Seeing this, Mark also felt sorry for Panin. Your civilization's luck is too bad. Your opponent is one of the best among level 3 civilizations. At this moment, another shout came from nearby. The match is about to end, that waste who only knows how to dodge has been burned to ashes. The child immediately retorted, "Don't talk nonsense if you don't understand Panin." But what responded to her was mockery. "You rude little brat from a lower race, are all of you this impolite?" The child fearlessly replied. "Aren't you also just a little brat?" Seeing the situation turning bad, Mark urgently suggested, "Leader Rena, let's quickly leave here. Staying might get us caught in the crossfire." As he spoke, that person suddenly threw away the beer in his hand. The next second, he transformed into a burly giant. It turns out he was an engineer from the Elf, ranked 1/300th in civilization, and terrifying big guys like him are considered ordinary people on their planet. But even an ordinary person like him could beat Panin to a pulp within 10 moves. But Rena beside them couldn't stand it anymore. "If you're so amazing, you only know how to show off in front of children? Someone like you calls himself ordinary? Don't make me laugh, you clearly look like a waste." Hearing this, the big guy's veins bulged with anger. "Have you lower civilization guys all gone crazy? Why are you all trying to make me angry?" He said this while approaching them with murderous intent. But just as he raised his fist the size of a sandbag to attack, a drone suddenly flew over and stopped him. Seeing this, the big guy felt both unwilling and terrified. Damn it, why did it have to come at this moment? That's the arena's security drone, a machine used to maintain order in the arena. Tens of thousands are distributed throughout each arena. Once they detect rule violations or riots, they will mercilessly shoot and kill those who cause trouble. At this time, the drone inquired, "Has this elf person caused you harm?" Rena smiled wickedly. "Does irritating my eyes count? He just wanted to show off those lumpy muscles to us level 1 civilization people. Why don't you show the drone a pose too?" Although the big guy was furious. Due to the drone's presence, he still restrained himself. But when he inadvertently saw the Earthling's identity information, he suddenly thought of something, then immediately returned to his dwarf state. After leaving behind a "just you wait," he left the arena. At this time, overwhelming accusations from the audience attacked Panin. Hiding all the time without coming out, can you still be called a civilization's representative? However, Rena had expected this. The gap between level 1 and level 3 civilizations is too great. Do Earthlings really have a way to defeat such monsters? But thinking of those compatriots suffering from illness, she immediately perked up again. "I can't be so negative anymore, there must be a way." Just then, the commentator suddenly let out a surprised cry. "Look, what is that?" In the arena, Panin flew through the sea of flames to above Agni. As his blade fell, a huge bone-cracking sound directly echoed throughout the arena. Seeing this scene, Rena was shocked, but it also gave her hope. Just then, Mark suddenly received a phone call, saying there was a problem with the exhibits, and they needed to go check immediately. But on the way to the exhibition hall, a familiar figure appeared behind them. When they weren't paying attention, a fist the size of a sandbag struck over. When Rena opened her eyes again, she and Mark had been dragged into the exhibition hall by two big guys. After seeing the perpetrator's appearance clearly, Rena immediately scolded angrily. "You little bastard, just because I said a few words about you earlier, but don't you have any brains? This is GSP Planet, the guard team will come immediately." However, the big guy's accomplice didn't care about this at all. "You lower civilization guys sure talk big. Most of the security equipment on this planet uses our planet's technology, and I've already taken care of this building's security equipment." The big guy then spoke up. "The Galactic Alliance really isn't what it used to be, even accepting such waste," Rena shouted angrily. "Accept? You think we wanted to join this broken alliance? You not only trespassed on our planet without permission, but also brought infectious diseases to ordinary people, and even forced us to sign unequal treaties. Even now, hundreds of millions of Earthlings are still suffering. But this damn alliance talks about mutual help between civilizations, yet hasn't provided support even once." The two listened and were first stunned, then couldn't help but burst into laughter. Lower races are really interesting. To so righteously say their civilization level is inadequate, yet still fantasize about support. Do you think the alliance is a charity? I didn't expect there are still primitive civilizations struggling with infectious diseases. Isn't that kind of thing only supposed to appear in exhibition halls like this? But when they walked into the display area storing ancient artifacts, a voice suddenly reached their ears. "I was wondering which sect was managing me. Turns out it's the Shaolin sect. Not bad, also quite a famous sect. But speaking of which, your Shaolin temple's decorating style has become way too exaggerated." However, these two big guys didn't understand what he was saying at all. But Rena, who understood the language, suddenly thought of something. So she urgently shouted in Earth language, "Go call the guard team quickly, say these guys want to violate alliance regulations." Although the immortal demon didn't understand her meaning, he could be certain this girl was one of his kind. Thinking this, he directly swung his fist toward the two big guys' whirlwind fist. When the smoke cleared, both big guys had lost all vital signs on the spot. Seeing this scene, Rena was completely dumbfounded. At this time, the immortal demon spoke again. "Little girl, don't just stand there stunned. I'm sure you can understand what I'm saying. I have many questions I want to ask you now. You better not think about running away, otherwise I'll kill you. Tell me where this is." But after learning from the woman that this was an exhibition hall building, he was immediately confused. Isn't this the Shaolin temple? But this bald head? That's right, the aura emanating from his body is indeed different from the Shaolin temples. The indoor decoration is also somewhat strange. For those bald heads, this feels too flashy. "So what exactly are you?" Rena didn't respond immediately, although she was very afraid. The terrifying power this man displayed made her even more curious. So she mustered courage and began examining the immortal demon's body. The language used and appearance are clearly Earthling, and there doesn't seem to be any special devices, so how was that explosion just now produced? The impatient immortal demon grabbed her hair and questioned. "What are you, crazy woman, randomly touching for?" Rena pushed his hand away and asked back, "Who exactly are you?" This made the immortal demon somewhat surprised. "There are actually people who don't know my name." But just as he was about to announce his title, the big guy's accomplice suddenly attacked. However, facing a fist bigger than his own head, the immortal demon countered with a backhand punch, then immediately followed up with a dragon claw strike. As white smoke rose, the next second the big guy was directly blasted away. Seeing this scene, Rena was completely dumbfounded. Is he really an Earthling? At this time, the immortal demon inquired again. "Can't you tell who I am even now?" Rena immediately expressed her apology. "Since I spent most of my time on alien planets, I don't know much about the situation on Earth." But what she found strange was that a guy with such terrifying power had no fame whatsoever. Hearing these unfamiliar terms from Rena's mouth, the immortal demon was confused. Just then, Mark came over with a bruised and swollen face. Looking at the devastated scene and the strange man in front of him, he was very curious about what had happened. But after learning from Rena that this was all the man's doing, Mark immediately expressed gratitude for his rescue. "But if you don't reveal your identity, it's hard for us to trust you." The immortal demon brushed away the hair covering his face. "I am the immortal mad demon who made all of Central Plains martial arts world tremble in fear, Lord Jinwal Ma." Hearing this, both were dumbfounded. What is this? Settings and names that even elementary school students wouldn't read. Leader Rena, is this guy mentally unstable? However, Rena had a bold idea in her mind. Regardless, this guy has extraordinary strength, maybe... Before she could finish speaking, the ground suddenly trembled. It turns out the big guy who was knocked down earlier had recovered. Damn it, it's all because of this suppressor around my neck. If it weren't for this, I would have beaten those guys to a pulp long ago. Seeing this, Mark urgently suggested everyone run away quickly. But Rena issued a challenge. "Lord Jinwal Ma, do you think you can beat him? That guy didn't even use half his strength just now." Hearing this, Jinwal Ma immediately became interested. "So that guy is very strong?" He said this while excitedly walking toward the big guy. This left Mark very confused. "Leader, what are you doing? You should know better than anyone what that guy is like when he goes berserk." However, Rena remained unmoved. The reason she did this was not only to understand this person's strength more deeply, but this might also be a great opportunity for Earth civilization to turn things around. But Mark thought she had gone crazy. After saying this, he hurriedly left. At this moment, Rena couldn't be sure if doing this was right, but thinking of those suffering compatriots, she decided to bet her life to verify her thoughts once. After all, she had personally witnessed that person's terrifying power, the power that could completely suppress such extraordinary monsters. At this time, seeing Jinwoo Ma approaching, the big guy instantly became furious. He even recklessly crushed the suppressor around his neck. "You ignorant level -1 civilization. Today I'll make you all die here." The moment the suppressor was completely released, the surroundings instantly filled with lightning and fire. Now let you feel the real difference between civilizations. With a wave of his hand, countless metal fragments carried lightning momentum and smashed toward Jinwoo Ma. However, Jinwoo Ma not only didn't die, but showed an intriguing smile. "This thing is simply too tempting." After saying this, he directly scattered all the metal fragments. "Big Baldy, I want your power." Seeing this scene, the big guy was shocked. He actually broke through my magnetic force completely unharmed. Could this guy be stronger than me, with the suppressor removed? No, this is absolutely impossible. Thinking this, he began frantically hammering toward Jinwoo Ma's position. But Jinwoo Ma seized the opportunity and rode on his head. For the big guy who prided himself on being a higher-level civilization, this was simply a great humiliation. So he first drove Jinwoo Ma away, then his fists began gathering yellow lightning. But what he didn't expect was, yellow lightning also began gathering around Jinwoo Ma's hands. Even yellow stripes appeared on his body. Damn lower race, you can actually imitate our civilization's cosmic power. So this thing is called cosmic power. Very good, I like it very much. As a return gift, let me show you my real power this time. After saying this, he rushed forward at lightning speed, colossal palm of the raging tiger. The next second, he directly penetrated the big guy's body. This isn't imitation, this is what I plundered. Rina, who witnessed the entire process, was completely dumbfounded. He actually defeated a level 3 civilization using cosmic power. At this moment, Jinwoo Ma looked at the lightning in his hand, still unsatisfied. This really is amazing martial arts, it even makes one feel excited. So he hurriedly came to Rina and demanded she take him to where those bald heads were. However, Rina was even more excited than him. As expected, that's what you came for, right? The purpose of smuggling to this planet was to prove your own strength. Since that's the case, I know many guys more powerful than that one. So Lord Jinwoo Ma, please become Earth's representative in the GSP fighting tournament. Then Jinwoo Ma told Rina all about his experiences. It turns out that 3,000 years ago, the aging blood demon cult leader, in order to achieve the immortal divine soul, actually launched an inhumane experiment. And he became the first survivor of the experiment. The pharmacist immediately brought him to the leader to claim credit. "Leader, I finally succeeded. This guy is different from others. Even without giving him a drop of water or grain of food, he can live for a long time." However, the leader was very dissatisfied with this. "I endured for over 10 years. You guys only managed to create an ugly dog." The pharmacist hurriedly begged for mercy. "Please give us a little more time. We will definitely complete the immortal divine soul." As soon as he finished speaking, his hands began uncontrollably opening the medicine. As all the medicine was drunk, the next second he turned into a monster with an ugly head and face. At this time, the leader, whose time was running out, desperately pleaded. "Have you forgotten our years of fighting together? I know you're still inside my body, so quickly grant me the immortal divine soul." It turns out that since ancient times, a legend has circulated in the human world. The soul of a strong person who understood the truth of all things would find a soul filled with resentment, lead him to the peak to realize his own great cause. Although people thought this was an absurd rumor, the leader had deep experience with it. His rise from a nameless nobody to cult leader, standing at the pinnacle of the martial world, was due to possession by a strong person's soul. However, what responded to him was mockery. "I didn't expect you to still be so stupid at the end. The immortal divine soul was completed long ago." Hearing this, he immediately understood something. But when he was about to resist, it was too late. After Jinwoo Ma killed the leader, a voice suddenly rang in his mind. "Do you hate this world? Do you hate those who destroyed you? I can help you get rid of all the people you hate. But from now on, you must join me in defeating all the strong people in the world and turn their power into ours. Are you willing to stand at the pinnacle of martial arts with me?" From then on, he embarked on a path of opposing all of Central Plains and gained a title that made everyone tremble in fear, the Immortal Demon. But good times didn't last long. Finally, under the joint siege of the remaining 5 great masters of Central Plains, he was sealed into a statue. Just like this, after experiencing 3,000 years, time returns to the present. This made Rina fall into deep thought. Martial world? Sealing? It's like a novel setting. So he can speak fluent universal language because he absorbed that elf person's power? But she had never heard of such an ability. But if it weren't like this, everything she saw couldn't be explained. So how did humans lose these abilities? Is it like lost technology? Just then, Jinwoo Ma suddenly leisurely walked toward the door. Seeing this, Rina hurriedly stopped him. "Where are you going alone now?" Jinwoo Ma thought for a moment. "I don't seem to need your help to find strong people either." Rina stopped him again. "I said I would take you to find them. Please don't wander around. This isn't the world you're familiar with." However, Jinwoo Ma turned a deaf ear to this. But when he walked out the door, he was completely dumbfounded. What are all these strange-shaped things? Rina, who followed closely, patted his shoulder. "Welcome to the 26th century. Now is the year 2600 of Earth calendar, the cosmic exploration era. As the name suggests, it refers to the era of transcending Earth and beginning communication with other civilizations in the universe." At the same time, Mark returned to the exhibition hall again, but the scene before him shocked him completely, although hard to believe. From the situation, it should be that crazy person who did this. At this time, a voice suddenly rang out. How is the situation completely different? Wasn't it said that an elf person went berserk, putting his tribe in crisis? The questioner was GSP Planet Judge Virtus. Looking at the scene, it seems like some other third-party force intervened. If a level 3 civilization elf person was killed, could it be that a same level or higher level combat civilization intervened? This made Mark, who had regretted bringing them here, breathe a sigh of relief. Good. Generally speaking, no one would think it was Earthlings who did it. This gives us time to contact the leader and coordinate our stories. But Virtus detected something from his expression. Earthling, you can't hide from me. I'm sure you must know something, Mark hurriedly explained. Indeed, nothing can be hidden from Judge Sama. I'm just worried whether my compatriots are safe. How could they be safe? Looking at the scene, you know the culprit must be an extremely vicious guy. But please rest assured, GSP Planet's best investigators are reconstructing the scene, so we should soon know who did it. As he spoke, the ceiling began to loosen. The next second, a huge stone block fell toward Mark. At the critical moment, Virtus instantly emitted a light wave from his hand to neutralize it. Earthling, don't be too sad. Your compatriot's revenge will be taken by the righteous Judge Virtus. Seeing the judge's terrifying power, Mark looked desperate. Planet investigators can reconstruct the scene situation, which means the truth here will soon surface, and leader Rina definitely won't escape involvement. At the same time, to avoid attracting attention, Rina helped Jinwoo Ma choose suitable clothes. At this time, Rina suddenly asked, if you ranked these guys in Earth civilization level, what rank do you think Earthlings could get? Jinwoo Ma said, I don't even know how many of these guys there are. How do you expect me to answer? Rina directly gave the answer. There are over 20,000 civilizations in this universe, and we Earthlings are at the very bottom of the food chain. Civilizations in the universe are divided into 5 levels to distinguish the hierarchical relationships between various civilizations. As I said, Earthlings are the lowest level 1 civilization, and of course, the bottom of all level 1 civilizations. Jinwoo Ma scoffed at this. There are actually people who take these useless numbers seriously. It would be better to use this time to improve strength. At this moment, Rina suddenly became serious. Lord Jinwoo Ma, I formally invite you again. What you want most is to fight powerful guys, right? This planet holds a fighting event called the GSP Championship every 100 years. This competition has many strong participants you can't imagine. If you represent Earth civilization in the competition, you can fight these strong opponents. Hearing this, Jinwoo Ma pushed her hand away. You want me to fight for you, right? Who do you think I am? How dare you use me so bluntly? After chatting with me for a few sentences, do you think I'm also the same waste as you guys? Rina immediately apologized. If I made you misunderstand, then I won't mention the invitation. I request you, I beg you to fight for Earth. If you can achieve good results in the competition, we humans can advance to the next civilization level. Jinwoo Ma also understood her meaning. But what he didn't understand was why that kind of empty reputation was important. Just because the level increased a bit, could it change your garbage-like essence? Rina immediately refuted his thinking. Because civilization level is a classification of universe energy values. All power beyond common sense in this universe only awakens when one can master this civilization level. And to awaken this power, one can only participate in competitions to improve civilization level. If we went to compete ourselves, we'd have absolutely no chance of winning. So I wanted to ask you to help us defeat those monsters and advance to the next civilization level. After level advancement, the most important thing isn't entirely power improvement, but knowledge that couldn't be obtained in a lifetime. Until now, the knowledge accumulated by humanity, I always thought was the result of ancestors' efforts over several centuries. But after entering the cosmic exploration era, I discovered our accumulated experience and knowledge all comes from that giant brain at the edge of the universe. And those guys who control the giant brain's knowledge call themselves ultimate Homo sapiens, and are currently the universe's only level 5 civilization. They are also the organizers who set cosmic rules and host fighting tournaments. Due to restrictions they impose, there are huge differences in the knowledge each civilization obtains. Before she could finish, Jinwoo Ma directly interrupted. How boring. In the end, it's still like I said just now. You just want me to fight for you so you can get what you want. This left Rina unable to deny. But please let me finish. What you're doing concerns all of humanity. However, Jinwoo Ma had long lost patience. Instead of wasting time explaining to me, why not find someone who shares your aspirations? As he spoke, a large hand suddenly appeared above his head. As a blinding light flashed, the next second he ended up decapitated. Justice executed. I really didn't expect it was you lower civilization guys who did it. Saying this, Virtus came to Rina's front. I will judge you for the crime of participating in killing the elf race. At the critical moment, a voice suddenly came from behind. Damn bastard, you made me look like this and think you can just leave? Now I want you to taste the same treatment. At the same time, the child Mala who appeared at the fighting arena earlier was telling his brothers and sisters about being helped. This surprised them both. Fighting elf race people? Didn't expect Earthlings to be different from rumors. Quite brave. At this time, a figure suddenly appeared ahead. You guys are chatting so happily behind my back. Kulak immediately joked. Don't know which little sister of ours went to cheer for someone and almost got into big trouble. After recognizing who it was, Mala ran happily toward him. "Big brother, are you okay?" Panon indicated she needn't worry. Even fighting immediately now would be no problem. Just then, the fire in the distance suddenly caught everyone's attention. Someone in the crowd was discussing. Judge Virtus appeared on F Street, said to be chasing Earthlings who killed elf people and fled. Hearing this, several people felt this setting seemed familiar, but couldn't remember where they'd seen it. At this time, Mala tugged at Panon's hand. Seeing her hesitant appearance, Panon immediately asked, "Did something happen?" At the same time, Rena looked at the scene before her in disbelief. Didn't expect that guy could hold his own against Virtus. Just when Jinwoo Ma thought it was over, several light waves suddenly shot from beneath his feet. Seeing this, he hurriedly pulled back. The next second, Virtus walked out from the ruins. "At first I didn't quite believe it, but you really did absorb the elf person's cosmic power. You're more dangerous than I imagined." Jinwoo Ma smiled mockingly. "What? Are you starting to regret messing with me now?" Saying this, his right foot suddenly stomped and he charged forward again. "Earthbound spirit, heavenly domain. It's too late to regret now." Seeing the great battle about to erupt, people fled, fearing they'd be affected. But Rena still stood there in a daze, not knowing what she was thinking. Just then, a large hand suddenly covered her mouth. "Calm down, I'm here to save you." The person was Panon. Seeing this, Rena seemed to think of something. Could this guy be the planet Piglo civilization representative where that kid belongs? But what are they trying to do? Panon told her he came to repay a debt. "We Piglo planet people always repay kindness received. But please understand, we can't save your compatriot. After all, judges are all monsters who made it to the GSP fighting tournament finals." After saying this, he fled the battlefield regardless of Rena's wishes. On the other side, the battle between the two had already reached white-hot intensity. Facing Jinwoo Ma's umpteenth attack, Virtus remained calm and composed. "It seems the elf person's power isn't all you have." Saying this, he lightly raised his right hand. The next second, a huge light wave easily neutralized it. The terrifying power even affected areas within several miles. "These flashy things are nothing but parlor tricks before me." But at this moment, Jinwoo Ma flashed behind him. Just when he thought he had succeeded, a finger suddenly appeared before his eyes, before he could react. The next second, a huge light wave engulfed him. On the other side, Rena was still struggling desperately. "Let me go, I need to save that guy." Just then, something full of flames suddenly fell from the sky. When Panon looked carefully, he discovered it was the Earthling he couldn't save. In shock, golden light began falling around them. Panon immediately realized Virtus was about to arrive, so he immediately signaled everyone to run quickly. But at this time, the wreckage and the flames made strange noises. Hearing this, Kolek was shocked. That guy couldn't still be alive, could he? Panon was equally astonished. How is this possible? He can actually keep recovering under Virtus's flames. Could this Earthling's cosmic power be? Before he could finish, a voice suddenly interrupted. "Super speed regeneration? What a pity such power is possessed by such an ant." After seeing Virtus, Panon hurriedly asked Rena, "Do you think this Earthling can still survive?" Rena firmly gave affirmation. After all, she had seen him recover from more severe injuries. Hearing this, Panon immediately suggested quickly taking him to the GSP contestant registration office. Once he becomes a GSP contestant, Virtus won't dare touch him easily. After explaining everything, he walked toward Virtus without hesitation, even though Kulek had 100 reasons to disagree with Panon's actions. Since things had come to this, he could only follow orders and take the two away. "Foolish guys, do you think you can escape from my Virtus's hands like this?" But just as he was about to fire, a dark force suddenly annihilated it. I heard that before becoming a judge, Virtus was a Helicionian, and Helicionians who use light power fear darkness most. And today, after winning the fighting match, I awakened our civilization's cosmic power, which happens to be dark power that can manipulate darkness. I think this must be our ancestors guiding us to help Mala's benefactor. On the other side, the two who arrived at the registration office were refused by the registration officer. Rena hurriedly took out her credentials for verification. "I'm an Earth representative, please help us." The officer looked to the side with difficulty. "Even so, the contestant you brought in this condition?" Rena hurriedly interrupted. "He's fine. As long as you approve it, I guarantee he can participate on time." Soon the argument at the registration office attracted attention from other civilization beings. But when they learned Earthlings were refused registration for competition, everyone showed strange smiles. That weakest civilization also wants to compete? Wouldn't that be easy points? So in an instant, shouts demanding registration filled the hall. After registration was successfully completed, Rena finally breathed a sigh of relief. But when she turned around again, she found Jinwoo Ma had disappeared at some point. At the same time, the battle on F Street was also coming to an end. Lower races' thinking is really incomprehensible. You risk your life to save them but gain no benefit. Is it really worth it? Now let me send you on your final journey. Just then, a voice suddenly stopped him. "That guy who only knows how to scratch. We haven't settled our score yet." Seeing this, Virtus raised his hand to unleash a light wave. But the next second, a dark force swept toward his palm, only to hear Panon shout, "I've temporarily sealed his abilities, Earthling. Give him a taste of his own medicine." With their exquisite coordination, Jinwoo Ma landed a direct punch on Virtus's face. The tremendous force even shattered his divine sacred mask. At the same time, Mark was sitting at the entrance of the exhibition hall, blaming himself. It's all my fault. If only I could have persuaded the team leader back then. If I hadn't brought the arbiter over, maybe things wouldn't have turned out this way. Just then, a loud explosion suddenly caught his attention. This made him very curious. What happened over there? Could this explosion be... Thinking of this, his phone suddenly rang. Meanwhile, seeing Virtus's unmasked, disheveled appearance, Jinwoo Ma immediately showed an intriguing smile. Impressive. You actually managed to block this king's heartfelt full power strike. But it doesn't matter, because your power will soon be mine. This instantly enraged the already humiliated Virtus. Unforgivable. You have left a scratch on my divine sacred mask. I will now tear you apart, you lowly bug. As he spoke, a giant hand carrying tremendous power suddenly descended upon Jinwoo Ma's head. Facing the same technique, Jinwoo Ma was obviously well prepared. But the next second, Virtus flashed to his front. Even though there was no escape, Jinwoo Ma still didn't forget to taunt. These flashy skills and movement techniques are indeed enviable. As soon as he finished speaking, Virtus directly sent him flying with one punch. Before Jinwoo Ma could catch his breath, a massive light wave came pouring down. In an instant, deafening explosions echoed through the sky. At this time, Mark also rushed over following Rina's instructions. But just as he reported that Jinwoo Ma was here, cheers immediately came from the other end of the phone. However, Mark directly poured cold water on her. Team leader, you seem to be celebrating too early. He's indeed here, but he doesn't look too good. At this moment, looking at the debris on the ground, Virtus couldn't help but be surprised. Can he recover from this level of damage too? I really don't know how such a lowly race obtained such powerful strength. Speaking, his left hand once again gathered a light wave. But just as he was about to end it all, a voice suddenly stopped him. Lord Virtus, please stop. That Earthling has registered for the GSP tournament as Earth's representative. This left Virtus completely puzzled. What are you talking about? This guy has been here all along. It turned out that half an hour ago, a commotion suddenly broke out in the registration hall. Everyone present expressed dissatisfaction with the official's refusal to process Earth's representative registration. Some even accused her of racial discrimination. This made the official very angry. You people need to stop this nonsense. Processing registration when the contestant isn't even present clearly violates regulations. At this moment, someone suddenly raised their hand. I know that if contestants cannot reach the venue due to certain reasons, they can undergo temporary registration. Hearing this, everyone discussed among themselves, there's actually such a regulation? It's normal that everyone doesn't know, since this policy wasn't established for those lower races anyway. Thinking of this, the official suddenly had an idea. Then she slammed the registration form onto the table. As long as you fill out these documents and hand them to me, registration will be complete. If you can't even do this, then just give up. But when they saw the text on the registration form, Kulak was immediately shocked. Because what was displayed on the form wasn't common text, but language exclusive to higher civilizations. So he immediately questioned, who can understand these ghost-like symbols? The official showed a triumphant smile. Then there's nothing we can do. The temporary registration system was originally established for the convenience of higher civilizations, so it's only natural to use the language they're familiar with. But Rina was filling out the information on her own. Seeing this scene, the official was utterly shocked. Impossible, she must be putting on an act. But after picking up the completed form, she was completely stunned. How could a lower civilization possibly read and write this language? Earthlings' brains should be unable to distinguish between these symbols, although she couldn't rule out secret guidance from experts. But if this Earthling truly relied on her own power to read and write this language, that would mean she was like playing a spot the difference game, discovering the subtle differences between these text symbols. And she had memorized millions of words and vocabulary. But even after memorizing them, forming sentences would become difficult to distinguish. That is to say, she not only memorized the words, but also memorized all possible sentences. But she quickly dismissed this idea, because even she, an individual from a language-specialized civilization, couldn't achieve this. That means there's either a secret hidden in her, or there must be expert guidance behind her. Moreover, providing assistance itself doesn't violate regulations, so she could only agree to the contest registration. Lord Virtus, it's better to stop the execution for now. After careful consideration, Virtus finally decided to withdraw. Another guy who would risk his life for his benefactor has appeared. Although you escaped judgment this time, your cleverness seems to need some suppression. With that, Virtus disappeared from the spot with Jinwoo Ma and Panan. After Mark relayed this news over the phone, both Rina and her companion were shocked. The official then indicated they needn't worry. They were just transferred to the contestants' exclusive recovery room. A week later, looking at Jinwoo Ma, who still hadn't fully recovered, Mark's face showed a trace of worry. After such a long time without healing, do you still think this guy can participate in the competition? Before Rina could respond, a voice suddenly came from behind. I see he's barely hanging on by a thread. The speaker was none other than Earth's GSP Team Commander Clarence. It seems I trusted you too much, Team Leader Rina. In that case, let the originally planned contestant compete in the match 2 days from now. As soon as she finished speaking, a figure rushed straight from behind. Team Leader Rina, stop being fooled by that self-proclaimed mad demon fraud, and you should believe. As he spoke, he leaped forward and came before Rina. Believe in the strongest man on Earth, Marcel Blade. However, Rina paid no attention and kept tapping on the recovery chamber, hoping Jinwoo Ma would wake up soon. At this moment, Clarence suddenly placed her hand on her shoulder. Don't worry too much. Marcel is currently Earth's strongest warrior, and the battlesuit he's wearing is the culmination of all human technology to date. I believe that after this competition, no civilization will dare underestimate us Earthlings again. Just as Team Commander Clarence decided to send Earth's strongest warrior Marcel to compete, Rina began pre-match analysis with everyone in the preparation room. This time our opponent is the Viserians, ranked 320th in civilization. Their home planet is composed of high-strength rock, with lava and toxic gases erupting everywhere, known as a hell planet. So they possess ultimate physical strength. And our opponent this time, Brick, is particularly outstanding among them, known for his extraordinary physical abilities. Therefore, what we need to pay attention to in this match is... Before she could finish, a voice suddenly interrupted her. Let's stop here. The opponent is a first-level civilization just like us, so leave the rest to us. Publicity team leader, please go back. The speaker was Earth Civilization Fighting Team Coach Steele. Wait, I heard there was a conflict with aliens and the exhibition hall was smashed. Doesn't that mean there's nowhere to go? Just then, the dispatch coordinator came to notify, please have the next contestant proceed to the waiting area. Seeing this, Rina hurriedly stepped forward. The strategy I prepared is... Steele interrupted again. We don't need that kind of thing. Just watch the match peacefully. Rina couldn't help but burst out, damn it, where does your confidence come from? I think you've just been on Earth too long and don't understand anything. Those aliens won't play by Earthling common sense. Only through strategy and analysis do we have a chance to defeat higher civilizations. In other words, victory depends on strategy, especially for Earthlings, who are at the bottom of the universe rankings. As she said this, a gunshot suddenly rang out from behind her. Team leader Rina, saying such things to team members before a match isn't quite appropriate. I think you're the one who's been in space too long. At this moment, Steele calmly watched Marcel catch the bullet. You're also underestimating Earthlings too much. We Earthlings have invested enormous budget, time, and manpower for this tournament over the past 100 years. Marcel also indicated she needn't worry. As he spoke, he showed her the battle armor's complete form. So please believe in me. I definitely won't let Earthlings down. At the same time, Mark was sitting in the audience waiting for the match to begin. But just as he wondered why the team leader hadn't arrived yet, a hand suddenly grabbed the food from his hands. What's this? Can it be eaten? Mark hurriedly explained, I just happened to meet someone who said they were the team leader's acquaintance. As Rina wondered, a voice suddenly came. Miss Rina, long time no see. Your luck is really good. The speaker was Kolak. However, Rina looked dejected. For that guy, our Earth representative is basically a free gift, isn't it? Just then, the host's voice suddenly rang out in the arena. Dear audience, thank you for waiting. The match for preliminary Group 8 is about to begin. Now please welcome the contestants. They are Earth's representative, ranked at the bottom with nowhere to retreat. Marcel ranked 12/700th. Hearing this, Kolak was very puzzled. Who is this guy? Wasn't that kid your planet's representative before? Before Rina could respond, Panin spoke first. Seems he hasn't come out of the recovery chamber yet. As he spoke, he raised his right hand inquiringly. Do you recognize what this is? Rina guessed. This wouldn't be a power suppressor, would it? Panin confirmed. When I came out of the recovery chamber, I found it on my hand. Although the wearing position and shape vary from person to person, that guy definitely has one too. This made Rina fall into deep thought. Come to think of it, Jinwoo Ma did seem to have something around his neck. At this moment, Mark suddenly asked what a power suppressor was. As the name suggests, it's a device that suppresses cosmic power. Because some civilizations' cosmic power can easily take lives even with brief use. So civilizations possessing these powers must wear them mandatorily when on other planets. Hearing this, Mark suddenly thought of something. So the martial arts that guy used weren't ordinary fighting techniques, but Rina immediately confirmed his speculation. Should be cosmic power. Although super speed regeneration is a rare ability, it's already widely known. But what she couldn't understand was that many of the various abilities Jinwoo Ma mentioned about ancient Earthlings were inconsistent with cosmic power. So what exactly happened to Earth during the time Jinwoo Ma was sealed? At this moment, the host's voice rang out again. Now please welcome the next contestant. They are a race that survived on the most hostile planet in the vast universe. Representing the Viserians, ranked 320th in civilization Brick, accompanied by the continuous cheers of the Viserians. A blood-stained figure slowly walked out of the passage, holding several beads in his hand. But when everyone saw the person's appearance clearly, the Viserians fell completely silent. Who is this man? It turned out that just as Brick was preparing to enter, he fell victim to the man's brutal attack. Then he turned his gaze to the center of the arena, go over and confirm if it's that Earthling. The next second, the elf who had been beaten by Jinwoo Ma ran up, but looking at the masked Marcel, he couldn't distinguish the appearance either. But he could be certain that person was Earth's representative. So it should be this guy. At this moment, the host also questioned, who are you? What right do you have to interfere with someone else's match? The man immediately introduced himself. I am Twinkies, representative of the elf civilization ranked 1/300th. I'm here to compete in place of Brick. As soon as he said this, it immediately caused dissatisfaction among the Viserians. What are you talking nonsense about on the sacred arena? Bring Lord Brick to us quickly. Even the host gave him a final warning, kid. You better think carefully before saying your next sentence. Twinkies immediately explained the reason, although there was no punishment because he's a GSP tournament contestant. But that Earthling is the murderer who killed my innocent compatriots. This made everyone question, a first-level civilization Earthling killed third-level elves? Is that possible? Twinkies continued explaining, I know it's hard for everyone to believe, but as everyone knows, my compatriots all wear suppressors. And this vicious Earthling took advantage of this very point to kill my innocent compatriots. So please give me a chance. Give me a chance to personally avenge my compatriots who died unjustly. Hearing this, rumors immediately spread throughout the arena. There was indeed a battle at the Z Street exhibition hall. Even the host began to think. However, Reno was dismissive of this and indicated Mark needn't worry. Even if what he said is true, logically speaking, such a proposal couldn't possibly be approved. But the next second, the host accepted Twinkie's request. A warrior who would risk his life to participate in the competition to avenge his compatriots? This is much more interesting than broadcasting those worthless matches. Seeing this, just as Rena was about to protest, a Viserion stepped forward to express dissatisfaction. I disagree. This is very unfair to our race. As soon as he finished speaking, his head was blown to pieces by a sound wave. Seeing this scene, Rena was completely stunned. At this moment, the host spoke again. Now let's return to the match. Next, I'll introduce this contestant whom I personally decided to replace the Viserion. He is Twinkies, representative of the elf civilization ranked 1/300th in the universe, the #1 mechanical engineer in the cosmos. He's risking his life to participate in this match. Can he successfully avenge his compatriots? Let's wait and see. Seeing this situation, Rena immediately found Lord Clarence go to the management committee to protest immediately. Changing contestants mid-match clearly violates tournament rules. However, Clarence was helpless. Didn't you see who allowed this match to continue? One of the 6 gods of the universe, the central sage of the 3rd district match host, N. Sapien Leviathan. Who could possibly stop a god's decision? Hearing this, Rena could only leave angrily. Damn it, what's the point of match rules then? In that case, I'll respond in the same way. In the arena, facing the changed opponent, Marcel didn't mind. The next second, he actively swung his fist to launch an attack. No matter who it is, what I need to do won't change. Eliminate the enemy before me for humanity. As he spoke, a powerful punch came crashing down, but was dodged by Twinkies with a sidestep. However, as soon as Marcel landed, he activated the mecha's propulsion system. In an instant, he was back in front of Twinkies, then began a frenzied attack. Seeing this scene, Mark was shocked. This guy really is Earth's strongest warrior. Even Kolak was quite surprised. That Earthling is performing much better than expected, actually able to make Twinkies helpless. In contrast, Panon's expression was very grave. At this moment, Marcel, who had the upper hand, entered overload mode. The next second, an explosive punch heavily struck Twinkies. The tremendous power even shattered the ground. Witnessing the entire process, Clarence looked incredulous. Is the match over just like that? Marcel seems to have struck a victory pose. He's accomplished the impossible once again. Thinking of this, he suddenly recalled the first day he met Marcel. At that time, the mission to eliminate the criminal organization had failed. He himself was also severely injured. Facing a life-or-death situation, he immediately ordered himself to go attract the criminals' attention, and told Marcel to take the opportunity to escape and report the situation here to headquarters, and be sure to eliminate this criminal organization. However, as soon as he finished speaking, Marcel pulled the trigger. The loud gunshot also attracted the criminal's attention. He immediately questioned what Marcel was doing. Marcel's eyes were filled with determination. The general's second mission: eliminate this criminal organization. Execute immediately. With that, he charged out without hesitation. At this moment in the arena, as the smoke slowly cleared, Twinkie's figure appeared before Marcel again. This left him quite surprised. Didn't expect this guy to be so durable, he said as his left palm began gathering power. But the next second, Marcel's entire left arm was blown away. The speed was so fast that he only felt the pain several seconds later. Even Clarence couldn't see what had happened. Only Twinkies was seen raising his finger and speaking coldly. What's so surprising about that? Didn't you fight my compatriots before? This left Marcel very confused. What do you mean? Before he could finish, an energy burst forth instantly, and Marcel's proud mecha shattered in an instant. At the same time, he was violently sent flying. Looking at such a helpless opponent, Twinkies couldn't help but question internally, is he really the one who killed my compatriots? Thinking this, he directly ordered Flock to confirm. But after seeing the appearance clearly, he discovered it wasn't the guy he had seen at all. Learning this news, Twinkies slowly walked to Marcel's front. I thought so. How could you fool, possibly defeat my compatriots? Tell me, where's that damn guy? Looking at Marcel's pained expression, Clarence angrily clenched his fists. Damn, Twinkies actually tore off Marcel's leg again. Even the audience in the stands felt it was somewhat cruel. This is no longer a match, but an Earthling torture show. At this moment, fighting team coach Steele hurriedly shouted, Alien, enough! Marcel has already lost. However, Marcel had no intention of giving up. Are you kidding? This is a mission concerning the lives of billions of humans. How could I possibly give up? With that, he used his last bit of strength to counterattack. But Twinkies merely moved his finger downward, he immediately crashed heavily to the ground. It seems the Earthling's GSP tournament journey ends here. But the next second, a voice suddenly rang out. Who allowed you to casually end someone else's journey? The Earthling's journey has just begun. As she spoke, a figure was forcefully thrown into the arena by her. Marcel, you've worked hard. Now leave the mission to him. At this moment, seeing the newcomer's appearance, Flock also began shouting, Lord Twinkies, it's him! He's the one who killed our compatriots. Therefore, Twinkies curiously turned his gaze to Jinwoo Ma. You mean this lifeless trash? But the next second, Jinwoo Ma painfully crawled up. Damn guy, next time we meet, I'll definitely kill you. But speaking of which, where is this place? Just as Earth's strongest warrior Marcel was easily defeated. Kulek helplessly shook his head. Originally, I still held a glimmer of hope. It seems the gap in strength still can't be made up with technology. Meanwhile, Mark also called Rena. Team leader Rena, where did you go? It looks like our GSP team is going to be eliminated. However, the news from the other end of the phone left him very confused. Why so suddenly? Why go there? Soon Mark arrived at the destination Rena mentioned. Before he could think much, a voice suddenly came from not far away. Following the sound, he saw Rena being chased by 2 law enforcement officers. After seeing Mark's figure, Rena immediately shouted, What are you standing there for? Hurry and stop them! However, Mark ran even faster than her. With this thing suddenly appearing, how am I supposed to stop them? And what are you carrying that guy for? Rena told him she was transporting Earth's hope. I'll explain things later. For now, I can only apologize to you. With that, she directly punched him down behind her. Thus, Rena finally managed to throw Jinwoo Ma into the arena without incident. Who allowed you to casually end someone else's journey? The Earthling's journey has just begun. Seeing this scene, the host was furious. What are you doing? Hurry up and take this woman in the trash on the field away. Hearing this, Rena immediately retorted, That's not trash. Lying there is the Earth representative who single-handedly defeated the elves and fought the 3rd District Arbiter Virtus to a draw. The immortal mad demon Jinwoo Ma. As soon as she said this, the stands erupted. How is that possible? With Virtus, this must be a lie. Wasn't there an explosion in the F District recently? At this moment, Rena continued. If the reason for agreeing to change contestants is to avenge compatriots, then this time I've brought the real target of revenge. So this contestant change must also be approved. Seeing this scene, Penon was quite surprised. A mere Earthling dares to publicly confront one of the 6 gods of the universe, the 3rd District Arena host Leviathan. She's got some nerve. The host found this very troublesome. You Earthling do have some skills, but no matter what, you're too late. A finished match cannot be restarted. Hearing this, Marcel struggled to his feet and shouted, I, Marcel, have not lost yet. Seeing this, Rena immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Great, this way Earth's future has hope. However, as soon as she finished speaking, she was forcibly taken away by law enforcement for disrupting order. At this moment, Twinkies looked puzzledly at Jinwoo Ma. This guy defeated 2 elves? He doesn't seem to be a living being anymore. But the next second, Jinwoo Ma painfully crawled up. Damn guy, next time we meet, I'll definitely kill you. But speaking of which, where is this place? Seeing the scene, Twinkies was shocked. Even the host found it incredible. That guy's regeneration ability is quite amazing. This match might be more exciting than imagined. At this moment, Twinkies slowly approached Jinwoo Ma. Damn bastard, I've been looking for you. Now I can finally avenge the clansman who died at your hands. However, Jinwoo Ma was dismissive of this, again with the same aura as those guys from daytime. I'm not interested in you weaklings. As he spoke, he walked toward the outside of the field without looking back. It seems I still need to find that woman to ask what's going on. The next second, he was directly lifted up by Twinkies. Seeing this, Jinwoo Ma immediately used his Dragon Claw technique. I was being merciful for once, but someone still wants to court death. As he finished speaking, he swung at his head. But what he didn't expect was, all 5 of his fingers broke. Is there something wrong with my body? As he pondered, Twinkies was already furious. Damn Earthling, killing my clansman wasn't enough. You actually dare to ignore our civilization. With that, an over-shoulder throw sent Jinwoo Ma crashing heavily to the ground. Taking this opportunity, Jinwoo Ma jumped back to create distance. What did that guy do to me? Now, except for the immortal divine technique, I can't use any other martial arts. As he wondered, a fist the size of a sandbag was already in front of him. However, Jinwoo Ma not only didn't dodge, but also showed a sinister smile. In that case, I can only fight happily like before. Thus, after being split in half by Twinkies, he immediately used his upper body to counterattack. He first extended his finger to poke Twinkie's eye, then, taking advantage of his brief blindness, he stuck his thumb into his mouth, then punched his jaw hard and his thumb broke off with a sound, finally being swallowed by Twinkies. And Twinkies also slapped him into mush. But just when everyone thought the dust had settled, white smoke suddenly emerged from Twinkie's mouth. Then a pair of large hands pried open his mouth, accompanied by a painful wail. The next second, Jinwoo Ma actually crawled out of Twinkie's mouth. Since you insist on courting death, I'll grant your wish. This made the host exclaim. Contestant Jinwoo Ma used the energy generated by regeneration to execute a novel attack. This is truly a biological bomb in every sense. But Twinkie's reaction was also timely. instantly pulling his chin out to avoid fatal damage. At this moment, Kulak in the stands began to waver, actually able to convert regeneration ability into attack. If he endures a few more times like this, maybe... Panan beside him agreed with his view. This match might be an easy victory for the Earthling. Just then, a voice suddenly interrupted the two. Good fighting ability, but poor match-watching skills. Unfortunately for the Earthling, that attack just now was the only chance to win. Twinkies won't show such a weakness again. In that situation, the Earthling's chance of victory is 0. This made Kulak somewhat annoyed. Who are you? Why are you sitting next to us? The newcomer immediately introduced himself. I'm just a cosmic journalist from planet Euphoria, Ackerman. I'm very interested in you, the brother who defeated Agni. And you even blocked Arbiter Virtus's attack. Hearing this, Panan immediately became alert. The number of people who should know I participated in that battle is limited. How do you know? And why do you say the Earthling's chance of victory is 0? Ackerman responded calmly. Don't forget I'm a journalist. Although Virtus's energy was limited to 1 in 1,000, surviving his attack is already remarkable. But this is only because he has regeneration ability. A beast clinging to life and a proud warrior are ultimately different. Even surviving Virtus's attack is just the level of a first-level civilization. You're underestimating upper-level civilization representatives based on one lucky victory. That's Twinkies, ranked 1/300th in the universe, with hundreds of years of combat experience. As he spoke, the battle in the arena had entered a white-hot phase. After seeing that giant metal object, Kulak was shocked. Where did such a large thing suddenly come from? But after hearing Ackerman say it had been there all along, Kulak suddenly thought of something. Could it be that small bead from the beginning? Ackerman confirmed. Although most cosmic beings underestimate magnetism and view it as just telekinetic control of metal, but Twinkies can control metal at the molecular level, compressing it to ultra-high density for portable carrying. So in reality, the Earthling is equivalent to fighting against the largest battleship in the universe. Hearing this, Kulak immediately became angry. So this guy had that kind of ability from the beginning but kept it hidden. Is he toying with us? Ackerman was indifferent. This GSP tournament is watched by the entire universe. It's also a mega event that changes civilization's fates and demonstrates power. But using your ultimate technique against a first-level civilization Earthling in the first match would be a loss even if you win. Moreover, the metal Twinkies uses is as important to elves as their hearts. Using it on a first-level civilization would be considered shameful by them. It turns out that elves, being cosmic steel craftsmen, are born with hundreds of grams of metal substances in their bodies. After growing to 6 months, these substances gather in the body and are expelled through a behavior called iron spitting. The material spat out at this time is soul steel. Although it's metal with almost no practical use, all elves regard soul steel as a guardian deity-like existence. But with the arrival of the Galactic Alliance, the meaning of this spitting underwent earth-shaking changes. The originally peaceful elves suffered a crushing defeat in their first GSP match, and this match was broadcast to the entire universe. From then on, these peace-loving people became objects of mockery and ridicule by other civilizations. Some even plundered their resources under the guise of trade. Finally, one day, the king could bear it no longer. He began an experiment no one could imagine. That was to force newborn babies to swallow metal within 6 months. He believed this would make the soul steel they spat out stronger. But in this experiment, over 70% of the babies died because they couldn't spit out the metal. Even the babies who barely survived due to irregular metal flow in their bodies mostly spat out worthless metal. But fortunately, a small portion spat out unprecedentedly powerful metal. And Twinkies, the king's beloved son, was a survivor of this death trial. He became the owner of the universe's strongest metal, eternal steel, weighing tens of millions of grams. He also gained everyone's attention for his ability to control metal. His assistant became the mentor who cared for his daily life and trained his skills. However, the good times didn't last long. 2 small soldiers privately discussed the ins and outs of the incident. Did you hear? Prince Twinkies obtained eternal steel without even going through the trial. The king very likely took it from someone else and gave it to him. This is really unfair. Others risked their lives for it. Being born with a golden key is indeed different. If I ever get the chance to reincarnate, I'd also want to become a clan prince. Hearing this, Twinkies couldn't believe this fact, because the metal produced after maturation has the same substance as the spat-out metal. So he went to the warehouse to check and make one himself for comparison. But in fact, the substance he made himself was a pitifully low-level metal. Compared to eternal steel, the composition inside was worlds apart. So whose could this one be? A few days later, he discovered the clue. This was the assistant's family photo, and the eternal steel originally belonged to his child. His worldview collapsed at that moment. This truth was unacceptable to him. At the same time, a sound interrupted his thoughts. In his panic, his ability suddenly went out of control. In an instant, it pierced through the person's abdomen. When he came to his senses, he realized it was the assistant who had always taught him, his revered mentor. Twinkies, who had regained his sanity, desperately wanted to call for a doctor, but was grabbed by the assistant. Child, you need not feel guilty about this. My son died from side effects after spitting iron. At the same time, my old friend, that is your father, heard my news and discussed countermeasures. Giving you the eternal steel was also my idea. no matter what the truth is. The ability to perfectly control metal is the result of your hard training. So, Your Highness, you will surely be able to save and protect our people. From that day on, he made up his mind to use this eternal steel to make his civilization surpass any civilization. At this moment in the arena, with the blessing of eternal steel, Jinwo Ma was soon torn to pieces. But just when Twinkies thought the outcome was decided, the host let out another cry of surprise. Contestant Jinwo Ma is moving. He's not dead yet. The match isn't over. Hearing this, Twinkies was shocked. But when he turned around, he found Jinwo Ma was healing at an incredible speed. This left him very puzzled. Fighting until now, even I, a third-level civilization person, am almost out of cosmic power. Why does he, a first-level civilization earthling, still have remaining energy? As he pondered, Jinwo Ma suddenly showed a sinister smile. Now it's my turn. Jinwo Ma, who had been torn apart, has miraculously come back to life. This turned the previously clear situation into confusion once again. Even the host found this hard to believe. The match isn't over yet. Contestant Jinwo Ma has stood up again. Witnessing this scene, Twinkies moved his finger. The eternal steel that was just the size of a bead instantly transformed into a massive sharp cone. You just like a bug, I will kill you forever. However, just 1 second after he finished speaking, Jinwo Ma suddenly flashed in front of him. Before he could react, a heavy punch was thrown directly at his head. This surprised Aquaman in the stands. Why is this guy's speed completely different from before? But that's all there is to it. The elf star people's skin is harder than ordinary steel. As expected, the unharmed Twinkies immediately activated eternal steel to counterattack. The powerful force directly pierced through Jinwo Ma's body. But Jinwo Ma not only didn't die, he actually pulled himself out and launched a counterattack. While sending Twinkies flying, he also delivered a heavy kick. This left Twinkies completely bewildered. This guy actually hid such strong power. Jinwo Ma was also puzzled by this, although I don't know what's happening, but the flow of chi seems to have returned. Then let's end this quickly with a decisive battle. With that, his hands began gathering yellow lightning. The next second, deafening explosion sounds rang out in the arena. Seeing this scene, Aquaman's heart began to waver. I didn't expect this guy to be hiding that kind of ability. In that case, it's a different story. Elf Star people are a civilization skilled in strength and defense. It's completely impossible to dodge that attack just now. But when the smoke cleared, they found that Twinkies had actually created a shield to defend himself. This left Aquaman extremely embarrassed. Of course there are exceptions too. Jinwo Ma also didn't expect this thing to be so hard. While he was distracted, Twinkies seized the opportunity and activated Eternal Steel again. The next second, countless spikes directly pierced through his entire body. Seeing this, Jinwo Ma suddenly recalled the scene of fighting elf people before. Thinking of this, he showed a sinister smile. At this time, Twinkies was controlling Eternal Steel to surround himself. His regeneration ability is ultimately a limited ability that consumes energy to maintain, so as long as I hold out until his energy is depleted. However, before he could finish speaking, Jinwo Ma broke through the Eternal Steel with his bare hands and rushed in. This left Twinkies both surprised and confused. How did this guy do it? Our civilization's pride, the Eternal Steel was so easily broken through. While he was distracted, a large hand suddenly grabbed his head. The next second, he was thrown out of the Eternal Steel. Seeing this scene, Flock urgently shouted, Prince Twinkies, that guy can also use magnetic force. Hearing this, Twinkies was shocked. What are you talking about? How could a first-level civilization possibly use more than 2 types of cosmic power? But after seeing Jinwo Ma activate Eternal Steel, he immediately gritted his teeth in anger. This guy actually wants to use Eternal Steel against me. This absolutely cannot be forgiven. With his loud shout, Eternal Steel immediately began gathering towards his body. The next second, a giant clad in armor appeared before Jinwo Ma. Seeing this, Jinwo Ma used magnetic force again, preparing to repeat the same trick. But when he was knocked down, he discovered that he couldn't take back control of the metal attached to Twinkies. But Jinwo Ma's next action shocked the host. Contestant Jinwo Ma actually tore off his own head, using his extreme regeneration ability to escape. What a bold attempt. At this time, Jinwo Ma began thinking of countermeasures. That armor definitely doesn't look like something that can be easily broken through. Mentioning the word armor, he suddenly thought of his childhood. Back then, facing Meng Da-o, the owner of the Black Tortoise armor, one of the 7 treasures of the martial world, he was completely helpless. But just as Meng Da-o was about to deliver a killing blow, a figure suddenly stood in front of him. Are the rumors all true? You only show off in front of children. This made Meng Da-o furious. He immediately swung his weapon at that person. But that person's counterattack left him unforgettable for life. Thinking of this, he immediately charged at Twinkies. True essence shattering fist. With one palm strike, everyone's attention was focused on Twinkies. But Twinkies pointed at his chest and let out a mocking laugh. Now you understand, you absolutely cannot break through Eternal Steel. However, before he could finish speaking, the next second, countless blood spurted out from within the armor. At this time, Jinwo Ma spoke calmly. Although it's indeed useful metal, you seem to have forgotten something important. Even with the most famous sword, victory isn't decided by the sword, but by the person wielding it. Seeing the outcome decided, Aquaman left the arena early. The universe has existed for about 15 billion years. Even if cosmic power is endless, all possible situations have occurred. But why is there no information about the anomalous phenomena of that Earthling? Is it the appearance of new abilities, or is someone deliberately hiding it? This Earthling is really interesting. At the same time, the host's voice rang out in the arena. Due to contestant Twinkies being unable to continue the match, I now declare the winner of the 8th preliminary round is the Earth Civilization representative, contestant Jinwoo Ma. Seeing this scene, Commander Clarence was shocked. A first-level civilization warrior finally achieved victory. It seems team leader Rina's words were true. Maybe we're witnessing a historic moment right now. The host in the arena continued eloquently. With this, first-level civilizations that have defeated higher civilizations in this tournament have reached 3. Before he could finish, Jinwoo Ma suddenly leaped in front of him. From the beginning, that powerful aura has been very interesting to me, so it was you. Now let me experience your strength. With that, he transformed eternal steel into a long sword and slashed down. But as a wave of flames swept by, the next second, Jinwoo Ma turned into a skeleton. The host also made a new judgment on Jinwoo Ma's offense. The previous statement is cancelled. This match ends with no winner. Before he could finish, the command coordinator suddenly brought good news. Congratulations, Leviathan, sir. Your broadcast match topped the simultaneous ratings. The total number of live viewers for the match just now exceeded 800 billion. Among the 5 regions currently broadcasting matches, the highest simultaneous rating is your match. Hearing this, Leviathan burst into laughter. 900 years, the match I'm responsible for has finally been loved by everyone again. Saying this, he suddenly thought of something. Then he pointed at Jinwoo Ma's skeleton and gave instructions. Quickly give him the best treatment. From now on, he'll be our district's star contestant. But what gives him a headache is, who should we entrust our star contestant to? Moments later, the command coordinator brought Rina a notice. Leviathan, sir, wants you to personally take away your contestant. Hearing this, Rina felt something was wrong. If it's Leviathan's message, that means that guy must have done something primitive again. Soon, led by the command coordinator, she came before Leviathan. I called you here for no other reason than because your civilization's contestant looks like he has some difficulty returning by himself. Although it looks somewhat cruel on the surface, we've already given him emergency treatment. Now take him to the recovery room and take good care of him. A few days later, Jinwoo Ma finally came back to life. Rina was also awakened by the commotion he made. So you've come back to life, your ability is really amazing. Seeing this, Jinwoo Ma immediately asked what this place was and what all these things were. Rina gestured for him not to panic. These are all devices to help you recover. Hearing this, Jinwoo Ma's eyes immediately became fierce. Who dares to help me? However, Rina showed no fear. As long as you wear this collar called a suppressor, you're just like us. Nothing more than the weakest first-level civilization Earthling. Hearing this, Jinwoo Ma immediately began struggling with all his might. But after discovering he couldn't break free at all, he instantly calmed down. What's going on? The blood vessels aren't blocked, but I can't feel any strength throughout my body. Just then, Rina suddenly interrupted his thoughts. How do you feel about this GSP championship? Seeing Jinwoo Ma's confused expression, Rina explained again. That's the place where you fought that steel warrior. If you continue to represent Earth's civilization, I'll help you get free from these devices right now. However, Jinwoo Ma was disdainful of this. Seeing that threats weren't working, Rina immediately pressed the switch button. I can help you remove these restraints, but before she could finish, Jinwoo Ma suddenly grabbed Rina's neck threateningly. If you don't want to be torn apart immediately, remove this thing from my neck too. Just then, Marcel suddenly limped in. Team leader Rina, what's the situation you called me for? Seeing this, Rina immediately pushed away Jinwoo Ma's hand. Then she showed an intriguing smile. The suppressor around your neck absolutely cannot be removed by yourself alone, so how about we play a simple game? If you can duel with that guy and win, I'll immediately help you remove the suppressor and guarantee never to bother you again. But if you lose, you must represent Earth civilization in all remaining preliminaries. After Jinwoo Ma agreed to Rina's proposal, he first went to the cafeteria. This puzzled Rina. When exactly do you plan to start? Jinwoo Ma, who was frantically eating, immediately responded, I want to fight now, but before that I must replenish myself properly. Also, do you guys feel hungry every day? Rina asked back, is this your first time feeling hungry? Didn't people in the past need food? Jinwoo Ma said it's not entirely like that, but compared to you weak future people, we seem to be able to persist longer. Rina immediately retorted, whether we're weak or not, you'll know after fighting Marcel. With that, she turned her gaze to Marcel. You can't just focus on eating, now you should say something. Hearing this, Marcel directly made a threat. My martial arts rank alone exceeds 40, and I'm also proficient in various military killing techniques, even though I'm now missing an arm and a leg. Don't think you can easily defeat me. However, Jinwoo Ma scoffed at this. Anyway, victory won't change because of whether you have hands and feet or not, so you'd better not waste time. Hearing this, Marcel was immediately furious. If we're being thorough, my disabled limbs have a lot to do with you too. Jinwoo Ma was not to be outdone. Don't blame others for your own weakness. Seeing the two getting more heated, Rina immediately suggested, it looks like you two have eaten enough, so let's go to practice arena and settle this. Soon after arriving at the GSP practice arena on the 80th underground floor, Jinwoo Ma showed an impatient look. Wouldn't it have been fine to settle this in the cafeteria just now? Why run to such a distant place? Rina told him, this isn't the place where you used to live. Fighting anywhere will result in punishment. Hearing this, Jinwoo Ma let out a mocking laugh. It seems the future land is full of cowards. Just as Rina was about to retort, Marcel suddenly came up to her. Although this is a battle for cooperation with that guy, I always feel something's wrong. You know he's the guy who defeated Twinkies. Even with a suppressor, he's not someone I can easily handle. Besides, I'm in this condition now. Rina gestured for him not to worry. Then she took out a huge box. This is a prosthetic from planet Artanos. It might make you feel a bit uncomfortable at first, but soon it will automatically adapt to your body. Marcel asked. This thing is quite valuable, team leader Rina. How did you... Before he could finish, Rina immediately interrupted. This was bought with my bank savings. And some help from team members. This moved Marcel greatly and he promised to give his all this time. Just then, Jinwoo Ma in the distance was already getting impatient. Aren't you ready yet? I'm still waiting to take off this damn collar. But just as Marcel was about to step forward, Rina suddenly called out to him again. Before the battle, there's something I want to tell you first. Afterwards, the two came to the center of the field. Looking at the device on Marcel's leg, Jinwoo Ma couldn't help but mock. I thought you prepared some amazing equipment. Turns out it's just a toy leg. With that, he began to crouch slightly. Then with a dash, he came before Marcel. But Marcel calmly kept dodging. This made Jinwoo Ma gradually become impatient, after missing with a full force strike. Marcel, who had been defending, finally saw a chance to counterattack. Then with one kick, he sent Jinwoo Ma flying. The powerful force even knocked him unconscious on the spot. Even Marcel was surprised by this. Did team leader Rina's words really come true, telling me not to be afraid because that guy was coming on stage? But Marcel was still puzzled. Team leader Rina, why were you so confident I could definitely defeat this guy? Rina directly revealed the reason. That guy's current physical abilities are worse than an ordinary person's. Essentially, most systems within the Galactic Alliance group are specifically created for higher civilizations. So that suppressor didn't consider that lower-level civilizations like us could also be affected. It's like using elephant anesthetic on a mouse. When not in battle, that guy doesn't feel anything unusual. But once he exerts force, the suppressor produces an even stronger reaction on his body. Hearing this, Marcel was very curious. But suppressors are basically used starting from second-level civilizations. How would team leader Rina know about its side effects? This instantly reminded Rina of her childhood experiences. Back then, the Galactic Alliance also kept tacitly allowing and ignoring those evil cross-universe trafficking organizations. She obtained a lot of information while barely surviving. Now that information weapon finally has an owner who can wield it. Alien kids, you better look forward to it. After Jinwoo Ma lost to Marcel, he began days of continuous challenges. But the results remained unchanged. This puzzled Marcel greatly. Team leader Rina, does this kind of training really help with the next match? Rina asked back, what do you think is the difference between higher civilizations and us? Marcel uncertainly said, is it the presence or absence of using cosmic power? Rina told him, in a narrow sense, that's correct. But from a broader perspective, it's breaking through the limits of common sense and physical laws. For Earthlings at the first-level civilization, having fire come out of their bodies, or instantly creating weapons are things beyond common sense. But for higher civilizations, such changes are as natural as breathing. Maybe if our human civilization level rises, originally incomprehensible things will become natural. For example, flying to space with bare hands or turning limbs into shields. But the ultimate standard for achieving this depends on the amount of knowledge each civilization level has. The amount of knowledge that higher civilizations can access compared to us is like comparing a giant to a dwarf. Since Jinwoo Ma's first battle had high attention, all information exposed in the match will be analyzed, and his fighting style is similar to other aliens. Evasion and defense are just secondary behaviors. Therefore, in the next match, this might become his fatal weakness. Hearing this, Marcel frowned. It sounds like team leader Rina already considers this guy an alien, but Jinwoo Ma is an Earthling, right? Rina gestured for him not to worry. I had the chance to confirm before, Jinwoo Ma is genetically 100% Earthling. This puzzled Marcel. Since we already won the first match, why hasn't our civilization changed at all? Hearing this, Rina looked confident. Changes will come gradually. There are 3 conditions for civilization advancement. First, the representative contestant becomes a next-level civilization person after winning matches. Second, races other than the representative won't immediately achieve civilization advancement. Third, civilization representatives will gradually achieve civilization advancement while maintaining victory. In other words, the more Earth civilization wins in competitions, the more likely it is to solve existing problems on Earth, and ultimately overcome them. And the purpose of this training now is to make Jinwoo Ma's power under various restrictions. Before she could finish, a questioning voice suddenly came. That sounds a bit strange. The newcomer was Ackerman, a cosmic reporter from planet Euphoria. Marcel immediately recognized his identity. You're those sneaky guys who use that pen-like tool to peek into others' minds. Ackerman ignored him and continued the previous topic. Your explanation seems strange to me. that Earthling's limits are obviously not those of a lower-level civilization person, but closer to a third-level civilization. So your current situation might be like this. That is, from the moment Jinwoo-ma registered as a representative, your civilization gained possibility, but there were no signs at that time. Maybe this guy is an existence completely unrelated to you. Saying this, he suddenly pointed his tool at Jinwoo-ma. How about I use this to confirm? Then you can get some secrets that even science can't know. Seeing this, Marcel hurriedly stopped him. Inforia person, we won't trust you so easily. Ackerman immediately expressed understanding. But if you want to know more information about him, remember to contact me anytime, because I'm also very interested in him. After Ackerman left, Marcel immediately asked for Rina's opinion. Rina said he probably just wants to know Jinwoo-ma's intelligence. Besides, we don't have other choices, do we? What we need to do is place all our hopes on this guy, then find a way to win all matches. 15 days later, the second round of the GSP Championship finally began. Next is the second preliminary round, Group 8 match. First to enter is the contestant who cleared the first round fastest in this tournament, civilization ranking 5,830, Representative Birkin from planet Trensbury. He possesses the ability to control all energy of his civilization, and he's also receiving energy from 400,000 compatriots simultaneously using this ability. Look at the huge suppressor binding this contestant. Today, the beast containing hundreds of thousands of energies will be completely unleashed in the arena. Seeing this, Mark looked worried. In contrast, Rina looked confident of victory. Our side definitely won't lose. At this time, host Leviathan's voice rang out again. The opposing contestant, though from the lowest-ranked first-level civilization, defeated the universe's strongest engineer Twinkies with terrifying strength. But when he saw Jinwoo-ma's condition clearly, he was shocked. How did he end up like this? But Rina didn't care at all. This is nothing serious anyway for him. This level of injury is nothing. Sure enough, the moment the suppressor around Jinwoo-ma's neck was removed, he immediately became radiant and energetic. Seeing this scene, Mark was startled. What terrifying self-healing ability. Go Jinwoo-ma, let everyone see the results of your training. Hearing this, Jinwoo-ma immediately became furious. Damn guys, you actually gave me such humiliation, I must kill you all. But before that, I'll fulfill the agreement and first deal with the monster in front of me. At this time, host Leviathan's voice rang out. Now I declare the second preliminary round. Group 8 match officially begins. But Jinwoo-ma was very troubled, although the QI has returned because the flow was distorted. I can't use martial arts now. Do I have to wait for the flow to recover like last time? Just then, the cheering from the stands interrupted his thoughts. Planet Guardian Mr. Birkin, please defeat that guy and save our planet once again. The enthusiastic cheers from fellow tribesmen filled the audience seats, but Birkin still didn't make any special moves. Seeing this, Mark asked worriedly, a warrior with hundreds of thousands of energy. That opponent's title isn't a joke, right? Rina didn't care about this at all, although this opponent isn't easy to deal with. She only hoped everything would develop as wished. At this time in the arena, a Trensbury person took a deep breath. The next second, he shouted into a huge megaphone, Guardian sir, now give the opponent a 1,000-fold punishment. As he spoke, deafening roaring sounds swept across the venue. Rina immediately realized something. It looks like Birkin is about to make a move. But Jinwoo-ma looked completely unconcerned. Can you win a battle just by being loud? But just as he finished speaking, he noticed something was wrong. Just now I couldn't feel his fighting spirit at all, but how did it change in an instant? While he was thinking, Birkin had already come before Jinwoo-ma. Then he blasted toward his position. The powerful force even affected the entire arena. Fortunately, the arena's energy barrier protected everything. Mark couldn't help but marvel at this. Is this the power of having an entire planet's energy? Seeing the cheers from the stands, host Leviathan spoke directly. The Trensbury people seemed to have started celebrating. You know, Birkin's first-round opponent also had regeneration ability, but the match ended in just 3 seconds. Can contestant Jinwoo-ma hold on? Contestant Jinwoo-ma stood up again, although Birkin made a precise strike at the weakness of regeneration ability users. Contestant Jinwoo-ma avoided the fatal blow by changing trajectory with a minimal difference. This is truly surprising, but what Jinwoo-ma didn't expect was that where he was touched by that guy's energy, his regeneration ability became extremely slow. Seeing the scene, Rina and Marcel happily clapped. Mark was confused, just because he dodged one attack. Rina explained, you wouldn't understand, because even we didn't expect this would really happen. It turned out that after Jinwoo-ma fought Marcel several times, Rina asked, can you see what's different about Jinwoo-ma compared to before? Marcel told her, even with the suppressor, this guy's speed is getting faster bit by bit. I'm the one whose abilities are controlled, but my life becomes more dangerous each time. Rina was very satisfied with this. If that's the case, then 2 weeks is just enough. Marcel, I need to return to headquarters temporarily to report the situation. Continue the remaining training as usual. This puzzled Marcel greatly, although I don't understand what she's trying to do, but I must train steadily. Seeing this, Jinwoo-ma responded coldly. You still want to continue this meaningless activity? Stop holding on to such ridiculous beliefs. Do you really think someone like you can train me? Marcel said, do you know how stupid you look in my eyes right now? If it were the original you, my punches might not have any effect on you. You might think this slow attack isn't even worth dodging. But this is like water dripping on stone. Once this attack continues, there will definitely be a moment when it can cause effective damage. If your regeneration ability doesn't work normally like it does now at that moment, even someone as strong as you might have victory decided by one simple attack. Saying this, he suddenly understood Rina's intention, using the name of training to naturally make him learn to dodge. For someone like Jinwoo Ma with strong self-respect, compared to pleading or persuasion, this method seems more acceptable to him. And in the battle with Birkin, the most important thing is to avoid that fatal blow. The watching Ackerman also figured out something. The reason for traditional arena training when the suppressor couldn't be removed was to change the common problem of regeneration ability users. Usually people with immortal abilities ignore various attacks, but there are always some unexpected situations that catch people off guard. Unlike the first battle, which relied heavily on luck, starting from the second battle where information is public, second stage abilities play a big role. From this perspective, Birkin's tournament journey is about to end. Twinkies also witnessed all this from the stands. Even with such power, you can't escape the limitations of second-level civilization. But for Earthlings, winning seems more advantageous to me. I just don't want him to win so easily. So work harder, universe's strongest puppet. After contestant Birkin's first attack, the scene fell into a long standoff. At this time, Rina in the stands shouted, "Don't let your guard down, you must dodge his attacks." This puzzled Mark. Anyway, his self-healing ability is fast. Isn't this a bit too exaggerated? Rina immediately looked at Jinwoo Ma in the arena. Do you think self-healing ability is a perfect ability without any weaknesses? Look at his left arm, it still hasn't fully recovered. Mark was confused about this. Don't Transbury people only control energy from their own civilization? Rina confirmed this. This ability to transmit energy to others is actually more suitable for support than combat. All life forms have their own energy limits they can withstand. Birkin destroys enemies by instantly injecting energy that exceeds this limit. This attack is fatal to Jinwoo Ma because the attack parts will be immediately damaged, causing slow ability recovery or even inability to heal. Hearing this, Mark continued, "This is completely a stupid attack. After all, he also has to consume the same amount of ability, right?" Rina nodded. "That's true, but that guy's energy is almost unlimited. Even though this type of attack also causes damage to the caster's body, continuous use might be very difficult. But what they're pursuing is that first strike aimed at the enemy's weakness. If it fails, from the next time there won't be attacks as prepared as just now." On the other side, the entire Transbury cheering section exploded. "Kallian, what are you doing? You turned the Guardian's great power into bubbles." Seeing this scene, Kallian was angry but didn't dare speak. A bunch of guys who know nothing, just pointing fingers and enjoying the fruits of others' labor. That concentrated burst energy can only be used a few times per day. So it's more accurate to hit the target only after analyzing the opponent's fighting style. Thinking this, she took a deep breath again. "Guardian, sir, please continue suppressing the enemy." With the command, Birkin immediately leaped up and launched an attack. While dodging, Jinwoo Ma seemed to understand something. So the real opponent is that little guy outside the field. No wonder this guy fights so clumsily. With that, he seized the opportunity and kicked him in the head. Seeing the scene, Kallian was shocked. Even host Leviathan found it incredible. Contestant Jinwoo Ma successfully resisted Birkin's continuous attacks and counterattacked successfully. Rina couldn't help but secretly laugh at Marcel. "It seems that guy was completely provoked by you." But Marcel disagreed. "How could that guy be provoked by me? Having fought him, I can be certain that for lay people in combat, techniques might all look similar. But that guy's technique was on another level from the beginning. Even with the suppressor equipped, I could never defeat him." On the other side, Kallian was already furious with exposed veins. "I didn't expect Guardian Sir to be humiliated by such a small fry. This is a battle of destiny, Guardian Sir. Quickly bring down divine punishment." Seeing this, Jinwoo Ma chuckled coldly, "Does telling me the attack timing in advance work for ambushes?" As he spoke, Birkin's attack had already arrived instantly, and a voice also rang out, "Earthling, dodge quickly." The dodging Jinwoo Ma was puzzled. That voice couldn't be from this guy, right? At this time, Kallian issued another command. "Guardian Sir, please bring down all divine punishment on the entire arena." This made Rina feel something was wrong. This means the next attack will cover the entire arena. As expected, as Birkin's energy erupted again, the host's voice also rang out, "Can contestant Jinwoo Ma still be safe and sound?" But after seeing Jinwoo Ma's condition clearly, he continued, "The super strong energy fluctuation that swept the entire arena was very massive. Contestant Jinwoo Ma ultimately couldn't dodge this attack." However, Jinwoo Ma smiled contemptuously to actually use such a stupid method. But before he could finish, he immediately lost consciousness. Seeing this scene, the Transbury people cheered with raised arms, "Worthy of Guardian Sir, we achieved victory once again." However, Kallian didn't intend to stop there, so she continued giving commands. "Guardian Sir, please finish him." But Birkin's actions surprised her. He actually defied orders and began injecting energy into Jinwoo Ma's broken body. "Earthling, please, quickly get up and end me." It turned out that to resist monster invasions, the Trensbury people went through years of experiments, and finally created a guardian who could accept hundreds of thousands of energy. People were overjoyed about this. Our planet can finally be liberated from monsters. They had been focusing on the flow of cosmic energy since the distant past. Now they can perfectly control their own energy through cosmic power. Not only can they concentrate energy on injured parts to help recovery, but they can also transmit energy to others to enhance strength. Currently, Lord Birkin has been injected with energy from over 400,000 people across the planet. Such massive energy might cause strain on his body. So they decided to seal it with a special device. To unseal this requires using the Horn of Liberation. Once unsealed, Lord Birkin becomes a powerful guardian. After effortlessly solving the powerful octopus monster, Kellyan asked how he felt about becoming the strongest warrior. Birkin was both surprised and happy about this, but what he found strange was that sometimes his body wouldn't obey. Kellyan gestured for him not to worry. The Guardian's massive power cannot be freely controlled, so I'll use the horn to support and protect you. But the Guardian's spirit and personality still exist. You might feel some discomfort now, but you'll get used to it soon. Just like this, Birkin carried the belief of protecting the planet and helped his fellow tribesmen overcome crisis after crisis. Therefore, he was also loved by many citizens. But just then, Trensbury's supreme leader gave them an order. From now on, battles must ensure no damage to the city. Hearing this, Kellyan immediately objected. This kind of thing is simply impossible to accomplish. The leader explained, every time you deploy, citizen losses are quite severe. The Guardian's power sources are citizens, so isn't it natural to minimize citizen losses? Naive Birkin nodded, but Kellyan reminded him never to be swayed by such absurd rhetoric. However, in the next battle, just as he was about to strike the monster hard, the leader's words suddenly came to mind. The monster also seized the opportunity to counterattack him. Seeing this, Kellyan urgently shouted, "Guardian, sir, pull yourself together and eliminate him in one strike." Hearing this, Birkin no longer hesitated, threw the monster away, and shot a powerful light wave to destroy it. But due to serious injuries and energy depletion, he also fell unconscious on the spot. When he opened his eyes again, he found himself imprisoned in an experiment chamber. Kellyan was also constantly pleading, "Leader, sir, please give us another chance to fight, I'll prove it to you." The leader immediately refused. This is already the limit. Injecting too much more energy would be excessive. He's just a monster, but if he can help us advance to the next civilization stage in the GSP Championship, perhaps I'll consider your proposal. Now, after Birkin's treatment, Jinwoo Ma finally recovered. But the first thing he did when he woke up was punch Birkin in the face. "What a waste, don't say such things to me." But to that kid with the annoying expression, "Hey kid, your puppet seems to have a lot to say." Now Birkin, knocked down by Jinwoo Ma, was heartbroken. "This tournament, I don't want to continue." Hearing this, Kellyan immediately flew into a rage. "How can you give up at this time? Stop acting like a child throwing a tantrum. You're Trensbury's guardian. Don't you know how many resources and efforts have been invested in you? Stand up immediately, go defeat the enemy for the future. Trensbury's future, no, doesn't need me." This instantly sent Kellyan into memories. What does this mean? Why cut off the energy supply? The leader explained, even increasing energy supply isn't enough to recover from injuries. Might as well proceed with a disposal program. Seeing Kellyan's confused expression, the leader continued. "You should also know that the monster number 001 defeated today was the last one. To the outside world, they're considered mutant creatures. But we ourselves know they're all failed products of past Guardian experiments. That is, at the moment the last monster was defeated. Our planet no longer has any danger." Kellyan continued persuading. "But if we dispose of the Guardian, the GSP Championship will..." Before she could finish, the leader directly interrupted. "We've decided not to participate in this tournament. This is the common decision of me and other elders. Even if this decision will make us pay a price in the future, even if we have to endure the humiliation of being called a lower civilization. For us, this path is the most correct choice." Hearing this, Kellyan was very dissatisfied. "Isn't Birkin, who fought for us, part of our civilization?" However, the leader thought she was being emotional. That's not a life form, but a weapon created through experiments. To maintain that thing's humanity, your life force will continue to be consumed. Don't you know you've already reached your limit? But even so, Kellyan still wouldn't give up. "Leader, sir, please give us another chance to fight. We'll prove to the entire civilization that your choice is correct." At this moment, Birkin suddenly spoke up, interrupting her thoughts. "My role was only to protect planet Trensbury from monsters, and now my role has ended." Kellyan's face was filled with unwillingness. "Put away such weak words. The ones who deserve to enjoy peace aren't those guys in the audience seats, but you. As long as you enter the finals and raise your civilization level, your imperfect flesh and unchangeable appearance can all be fixed. Now fight not for others, but for yourself. So stand up, Lord Birkin." Upon hearing this, countless energies within Birkin suddenly burst through his flesh. The next second, a massive monster appeared on the arena. Seeing this, Jinwoo Ma's lips curled up slightly. Compared to that boring puppet from before, this was much more interesting. Host Leviathan also found it incredible. What amazing power! Contestant Birkin is energy itself. At this time, Kalian's voice came again. Lord Birkin, from now on, give it your all in this battle. Upon hearing this, Birkin directly attacked the arena with his massive fist. The tremendous power made the host exclaim repeatedly, if an attack in this state hits even once, the match will be over. However, contestant Jinwoo Ma's reaction is still very quick this time. But unlike last time, he has no chance to connect to his subsequent killing moves. Could it be that Birkin can no longer withstand more physical attacks? However, Jinwoo Ma sneered dismissively. Missing? That's absolutely impossible. As he spoke, his hands gathered energy identical to Birkin's. The next second, he flew toward Birkin to launch a counterattack. Contestant Jinwoo Ma seems to be using an energy shield to block bodily damage. Although contestant Birkin persistently pursues, he still can't deal effective damage to contestant Jinwoo Ma, as the match gradually intensified. The audience below also began to think, why did that Earthling suddenly seem like a different person? And as the match situation gradually became clear, Kalian's expression instantly relaxed. It seems the worry was somewhat unnecessary after all. That foolish guy has no idea that Lord Birkin's body is now a furnace with hundreds of thousands of energy flows. How could such a weak shield possibly withstand it? Thinking this, she shouted into the horn again, Lord Birkin, hurry up and end all this. Upon hearing this, countless energies began gathering in Birkin's mouth. However, Jinwoo Ma showed an intriguing smile. Foolish guy, I've been waiting for this opportunity all along. With that, he flew toward Birkin in an assault. Seeing this scene, Ackerman was very puzzled. Is he going to abandon his life in the end? I originally had high expectations for the Earthling, but he's still disappointing. As the two energies collided, a devastating shockwave instantly swept across the entire arena. The tremendous power was even detected by that man far away in the distance. It seems a quite interesting warrior has appeared. I didn't expect such momentum just in the preliminaries. This direction is Leviathan's domain? It seems it's time to meet my long-unseen brother. The scene returns to the arena. Seeing this, Marcel looked astonished. This power is truly amazing. If one directly receives such an attack, even the guy managing the arena would be overwhelmed. Ladies and gentlemen in the audience, I have an announcement. To prevent sudden energy bursts from covering the audience seats, we are strengthening the arena's energy barrier in real time. So please rest assured and continue enjoying the match. After the announcement, host Leviathan couldn't help but sigh inwardly. A fourth-level civilization energy barrier actually reacted. These lower civilization guys really have quite remarkable strength, as the smoke on the arena slowly cleared. Cheers erupted from the audience seats worthy of Lord Guardian. This is another victory belonging to us Trensbury people. But Birkin turned his head and said, sorry. With that, his entire body exploded from the inside out. This sudden change left everyone shocked again. However, I showed an intriguing smile. What a foolish and ugly guy. I didn't expect he would hesitate until the end. In the end, he didn't want to kill anyone. That's your true inner feeling. Thanks to you, I couldn't enjoy myself to the fullest. But it doesn't matter. At least I finally have no debts on me. Soon after some investigation, the host announced the final match result. The winner of this match is Earth representative contestant Jinwoo Ma. Upon hearing this, Rena and Mark were extremely excited, while Marcel's expression was unusually serious. Aliens, watch carefully. This is the true strength of our Earth representative. At this time, Kalian ran to Birkin's side, grief-stricken and furious. Despicable Earthling, what method did you use exactly? Your attacks couldn't possibly have any effect on Birkin. Jinwoo Ma immediately asked back, is it appropriate for you to give energy to that person? Upon hearing this, Kalian suddenly thought of something. Could it be that those attacks just now were all? Before she could finish, Jinwoo Ma interrupted. That's right, I just injected energy into his body. And his body was already in a state of extreme energy. So by adding just a little energy, his body naturally couldn't withstand it and produce negative effects. The belated realization made Kalian very ashamed. If I could have been more rational, perhaps today's situation wouldn't have formed. Just then, complaints suddenly came from the audience seats. What a disappointing guy, it's only the second round of preliminaries and we gave him all our cosmic energy. Facing a lower Earth person, what kind of situation is this? Therefore, Kalian immediately roared angrily. You guys who only know how to sit back and enjoy the fruits of others' labor have no right to criticize Birkin. Birkin is a hero who truly protects our planet without asking for any return. Can you withstand what's to come in the future? In front of such unreliable civilization, peace will never come. Someday, guys more cruel than monsters will target us. When that time comes, will the Alliance's hypocrites protect us like Birkin did? At this point, Kalian's head suddenly exploded. Damn guy, how dare you blaspheme the gods in public? An Earthling, you can leave the arena now. But Jinwoo Ma not only didn't move, he also cast a battle-intent gaze at him. Just then, a voice suddenly rang out, Am I too late? As countless feathers slowly fell, Jinwoo Ma immediately sensed a terrifying aura. Host Leviathan also asked fiercely with a menacing face, You worthless child, why did you come here? The newcomer's voice continued, The result is truly unexpected. That warrior with tremendous energy actually lost. As he spoke, he turned his gaze to Jinwoo Ma. So, you are the victor of this match? Seeing this, Jinwoo Ma was extremely excited. We finally meet the peak of this world. However, the man's arrival caused dissatisfaction from host Leviathan. Damn it, why did that bastard have to come here? He couldn't be deliberately enjoying all this, could he? This scene is just an influence imprinted in the bones of various civilizations after the Great Galactic War. People can't really worship him. It turns out that about 100 million years ago, the entire universe faced a resource scarcity crisis. This became the fuse for the Galactic War, and the war lasted for a full 3,000 years. Just as the lights of civilization were being extinguished one after another, one person's appearance ended this war in just 10 days. That person was the end sapient Mulender. He intervened in the meaningless slaughter between civilizations, established a new order, and ended the long war. Since then, various civilizations began worshipping this hero and his companions as gods. This event ultimately led to the establishment of the Galactic Alliance. Now Leviathan grew angrier as he thought about it. Damn it, if I had existed then, this scene should have belonged to me. Just then, the command coordinator came to congratulate. Congratulations, Lord Leviathan. Thanks to Mulender's appearance, our sector has topped the real-time viewership ratings again. Hearing this, Leviathan became even more furious. You fool, it's clearly because of my excellent hosting ability that we became first. With that, he raised his hand and pointed. The command coordinator instantly shattered. Mulender entered the arena without authorization, clearly violating regulations, so please get out of my sight immediately. Mulender chuckled coldly. I never thought I'd hear those words from your mouth, but you don't need to worry. I don't plan to stay long. I just wanted to greet this warrior with powerful energy. In that moment, Leviathan instantly flashed behind him. Stop talking nonsense and disappear from my sight immediately. Mulender continued explaining. You seem to misunderstand, brother. I just wanted to... Before he could finish, Leviathan suddenly pressed his head. Are you planning to ignore my words? Mulender smiled calmly. Leviathan, I've heard some things about you. It seems you've been ignoring our rules and acting on your own. Due to your selfish decisions, your sector is facing many problems during this tournament. Hearing this, Leviathan flew into a rage. What do you know? In my territory, my word is the absolute rule. Next, you'll receive punishment for violating my rules. With that, a black energy ball instantly appeared out of thin air. And as time passed, it grew larger and larger. The buildings in the arena seemed to be drawn by magnetic force, slowly flying toward it. The audience was the same, thrown into chaos. This was Leviathan's cosmic power, able to decompose and reconstruct any matter. Once in contact with that black sphere, it would immediately dissolve like liquid. I'll make you understand the consequences of breaking my rules, Mulender responded calmly. Since you don't care about those precious audiences at all, then I have no choice. Third sector judges, listen to my command. From this moment, protect all civilizations in the arena. Judges Virtus, Dominiel, Etherian obey the will of the Supreme God. But what surprised Mulender was that this warrior was completely unaffected. But how could an ordinary human body possibly withstand Leviathan's gravity? And besides that, he also possessed enhanced regenerative abilities. Thinking this, he seemed to understand something. Perhaps his victory over that warrior with tremendous power wasn't just luck. With this thought, he immediately reminded, hold on a little longer, little warrior. Leviathan's reconstruction isn't an absorption skill, so it should stop soon. As he spoke, he turned his gaze to Leviathan. Brother, are you satisfied now? However, Leviathan laughed maniacally. You arrogant guy, have you forgotten the limitations I personally set on you? In your current state, you can't stop me at all. Today, I will reveal your true limits to the entire universe. With that, the terrifying energy ball began approaching Mulender. But Mulender calmly raised his right arm. It seems you're a bit too excited, so much that you've forgotten certain things. Within the arena, I'm allowed to release one of the limitations. As he spoke, the suppressor on his wrist suddenly shattered. Now let me end all this. Then, with just a wave of his finger, the next second, an energy beam instantly dispersed the energy ball. The tremendous power even affected nearby planets. Seeing this scene, Leviathan was completely stunned. I apologize for this incident. Mulender didn't mind, brother. I'll leave the remaining matches to you. Oh, and small but powerful warrior, I congratulate you again on your victory. I believe we'll meet again in the future, so you must win all the matches. After this incident, Rina immediately rushed into the arena. Jinwoo Ma, are you okay? Jinwoo Ma didn't respond but asked back, that guy called Mulender just now was... Rina told him Mulender is the representative of the ultimate civilization and also the final opponent of this tournament. But since the tournament was established, no one has been able to defeat him. Hearing this, Jinwoo Ma immediately made a major decision. Although it was just for an instant the moment he used his power. I definitely felt an indescribable sense of familiarity. If I want to figure out the source of this feeling, I must face him again. With this thought, Jinwoo Ma directly spoke up. Let me represent Earth civilization and reach the peak of this tournament. The scene comes to the arena. Ladies and gentlemen, the second round of preliminaries, Group 8 match is about to begin. Because Lord Leviathan is feeling unwell, today I, Velkanos, will host and commentate for everyone. The contestants for this match are ranked 6th 300th representative of planet Decabrews Braxon, and ranked 5/200th representative of planet Serentium, Kalmar. Now I declare the match begins. Marcel, sitting in the audience, was very puzzled. Why are the three of us here watching the match? Mark was also confused, but he speculated it might be because the winner of this match would become their next opponent. This left Marcel very puzzled. Why do I need to come watch too? Mark pointed to Jinwoo Ma sitting beside them. Do you want me to watch this ticking time bomb alone? Marcel asked back. Wouldn't it be more appropriate for Leader Rena to supervise? Mark explained that Leader Rena broke the recovery chamber in the first round. To pay the expensive repair costs, she put the entire publicity team's budget into it. So now the publicity team is using 3-shift part-time work to fill the budget. Hearing this, Marcel finally reacted. I wondered why I haven't even seen the coach lately. So what can we do on such an advanced planet? Mark indicated that in developed places, the service industry is more popular. According to incomplete statistics, GSP Planet accepts millions of civilized beings from different planets every year. Their purpose for coming here isn't for travel, but to improve their civilization level to participate in the tournament fighting competition. Over time, this place gradually became a planet for enjoying matches and sightseeing. With that, he suddenly began paying attention to Jinwoo Ma beside him. This guy seems to be watching the match very seriously. Was he originally like this? Just then, the match on the arena also determined a winner. The victor was Braxton, representative of the Decabrews people. At the same time, he became Earth Civilization's next match opponent. But Jinwoo Ma had no intention of leaving, and continued watching every match. 6 hours later, Mark gently tapped his shoulder. Are we going to continue watching? Jinwoo Ma indicated they could leave first. I can go back by myself after the match ends. Mark immediately refused. If I leave you alone, you might disappear again like last time. Jinwoo Ma smiled wickedly. You don't need to worry. I now have a reason to participate in the tournament. Hearing this, Mark immediately got up to leave. My part-time shift is starting. Oh, Marcel, the leader said she'll come soon, so please stay until then. After Mark left, the scene became awkward for a moment. Then Jinwoo Ma took the initiative to break the silence. Red-haired kid, don't you want to say more about the fighting method you used against me last time? This greatly surprised Marcel. I'm not strong enough to teach you anything yet. Jinwoo Ma thought about it and agreed. From the last match with Birkin, I realized that powerful talent and talent superior to others are different things. My question just now might have been somewhat demanding for someone who's physically weak. After a moment, Rena finally arrived at the arena. But what she didn't expect was that the scene before her didn't seem appropriate for her to interrupt. A month later, this is the third round of preliminaries, Group 8 match. First to appear is Civilization ranked 6043, a civilization that changes battle weapons according to power principles, Bruise leader Braxton. And fighting against him is ranked 700th Earth Civilization representative Jinwoo Ma. As the match began, Volcanos made an incredulous exclamation. Contestant Jinwoo Ma actually closed his eyes at the start of the match. Is this contempt for his opponent? Seeing this, Braxton's eyes immediately turned cold, getting cocky after winning against a third-level civilization. What a reckless fool. With that, he swung his weapon and launched an attack. Just as it was about to hit, Jinwoo Ma suddenly opened his eyes and took action. He dodged sideways while his right hand began gathering internal energy. The next second, a demonic blood palm struck Braxton hard. As Braxton fell, the host's voice immediately rose. The entire match took only 10 seconds. It was too fast. Congratulations to Earth Representative Jinwoo Ma for victory. Jinwoo Ma smiled slightly. That red-haired kid's words really were useful. After defeating the Decabrews person, Earth Civilization faced off against Planet Mantrax. Their civilization's instinct is power, an ability that ignores everything else and can kill all opponents with just the body. But what surprised host Volcanos was that Earth Civilization representative contestant Jinwoo Ma once again easily defeated his opponent. Seeing this scene, the audience in the stands cheered, "Very good, Earthling. We all bet on you. Win the next match too." On the other side, Rena couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Is this Jinwoo Ma's true level? It turns out that just a few days ago, when Rena arrived at the arena, she heard Jinwoo Ma and Marcel discussing some issues. So it's because of the suppressor that you can't exert full power? Jinwoo Ma confirmed. After the suppressor is released, the flow of chi becomes distorted. If chi can't be used, even the body might not be able to support itself. But it's not like there's no way to regulate chi. Rena asked back, is there a skill to regulate chi flow? What would happen if it's used together with other cosmic powers? Now seeing the answer with her own eyes, Rena was overjoyed. I started worrying when the first 2 rounds became difficult battles, but I didn't expect we could turn danger into safety. The scene shifts to the 3rd District cafeteria. Marcel, who was eating, suddenly thought of something. Oh right, Leader Rena. I heard the Earth publicity team staff are taking turns working part-time. I received the prosthetic you gave me before. If I can help with anything, that would be great. Rena indicated he didn't need to take this matter to heart. The Earth publicity team's work was originally very relaxed, and that money has already been gathered. This greatly surprised Marcel. You paid it back with just 2 weeks of part-time work? Rena explained that the currency used in the universe is 500 times Earth currency. So as long as everyone works seriously, efficiency will obviously improve. At this point, Jinwoo Ma suddenly interrupted. Speaking of which, the participating contestants aren't much good. After the second round, I watched all the preliminaries and felt there wasn't one who could inspire my fighting spirit. And their abilities aren't worth absorbing. Even if absorbed, they'd be eaten by that flying guy. Before he could finish, a voice suddenly attracted everyone's attention. You couldn't be thinking of defeating Moolander, could you? The speaker was Twinkies from the Elf Star. Seeing this, Rena and Marcel immediately stood up alertly. Why are you here? Twinkies indicated they didn't need to be nervous. I just came to say a few words. How about we find a quiet place? Marcel directly issued an eviction order. You're not welcome here, and we have nothing to talk about. However, Twinkies remained unmoved. I don't want to talk to losers either. As he spoke, he turned his gaze to Jinwoo Ma. I came to find this guy. Jinwoo Ma first looked at him contemptuously, then continued eating on his own. Seeing this, Twinkies continued. Don't you want power? I have a method that can raise your level in one breath. Hearing this, Jinwoo Ma immediately became interested. Take me there quickly. Along the way, Marcel was very worried. I heard the Elf Star people attack the Earth exhibition hall before. Is it okay for us to follow like this? Rena indicated he didn't need to worry. That was in the sparsely populated Z Street, an area without much security force. But now we're in the competition arena of the first center. With the security equipment here, they wouldn't dare act rashly. And he said he could improve Jinwoo Ma's abilities in one breath, so to some extent these risks are worth it. However, after arriving at the destination, looking at the menacing gazes around them, Marcel couldn't help but break into a cold sweat. Leader Rena, this doesn't seem like a risk, but extremely dangerous. At this time, Jinwoo Ma spoke calmly. Hey Trash, can you finish what you didn't say now? Hearing this, the Elf Star people nearby flared up in anger. Your words still make people want to tear you apart. Seeing this scene, Twinkies quickly intervened. Don't forget, there are more important things now. Bringing you here was to give you a suggestion. If you accept our suggestion, you will transcend the limits of civilization. As he spoke, he signaled the guards behind him to bring something forward. That is to use this at this time, in the GSP Arena Elf Star standby room. In front of the Earth people was not only this ring, but also a contract agreement. First clause, Jinwoo Ma must wear this eternal steel ring in future matches. Second clause, Jinwoo Ma must achieve at least one victory in the matches. If the above clauses are violated, a penalty of 50 million must be paid. Rena immediately questioned what this meant. Twinkies appeared very arrogant. I said I'd help you escape the limitations of lower civilization. Even you foolish ones should be able to see the value of this ring. But what worried Rena was, Galactic Alliance laws strictly prohibit unauthorized intervention in other civilizations. And why do you want to help us? Twinkies remained arrogant. This is just a simple transaction. As for why I want to help you, trash like you don't need to know. Just then, an uninvited guest suddenly walked in. How are you doing, little dwarf prince? The speaker was Volter from planet Ironstan, civilization ranked 380th. Seeing this, Twinkie's expression immediately became serious. Why are you here? Volter explained with sarcasm. Of course I came specially to thank you. Recently, thanks to the prince, our art museum stock has skyrocketed. As he spoke, he suddenly saw something. What are these barbarians blocking here for? Get lost quickly. Getting no response, Volter directly swung his fist at Jinwoo Ma, but was easily deflected by Jinwoo Ma. Jinwoo Ma turned to question what he wanted to do. Seeing this, Volter finally reacted. Isn't this the recently popular Earthling? As he spoke, he reached out and snatched the ring. It seems our prince is in quite a hurry, wanting the weak Earthlings to rank as high as possible to maintain what little dignity remains, really trying hard with schemes. But what can this change? The rumor that eternal steel is garbage has long spread. But for the sake of our ancestors' close relationship long ago, I'll temporarily... Before he could finish, Twinkie suddenly interrupted. Volter, do you want to fight that Earthling? Volter chuckled coldly. What nonsense are you spouting? Twinkies directly offered conditions. If you win, we Elf Star people will work for you. This immediately interested Volter. Can you take responsibility for those words? No. How could the prince's words be a joke? Then we'll go back and wait for your news first. After the others left, Twinkies was furious. Did you Earthlings hear that? That guy is adding conditions. However, Jinwoo Ma tore up the agreement on the spot. Though I also hate that kind of trash, even without you, I have ways to become stronger. These words completely ignited Twinkie's anger. You arrogant Earthling, don't forget where you are now. Hearing this, Rena immediately pulled out her communication device. If you don't want to see the judge, I advise you not to act rashly. At this tense moment, Jinwoo Ma suddenly extended his middle finger and pressed it against Twinkie's head. Listen up, little guy. We set the terms of the deal. This way, I'm willing to use some useless stones and even fight that annoying guy from earlier. This scene was completely unexpected for Twinkies. He thought Jinwoo Ma was just a hot-headed kid who could fight, but didn't expect him to be this threatening. The scene shifts to the 300th floor training ground. Just as Jinwoo Ma removed his suppressor, he suddenly heard Volter's voice in his ear. I don't know if you're stupid or brave. Knowing your opponent is me, you still dare to accept the challenge. Hearing this, Jinwoo Ma directly made an international gesture at him. What are you? But the next second, Volter crushed his palm. yet at the same time he inexplicably found himself unable to move. Jinwoo Ma first threw a punch back, then looked at the ring on his finger, remembering Twinkie's words. Changing one's own strength based on the strength of metal contacted, this is the ability of elven civilization. In other words, besides oneself, no creature in the universe can directly destroy it. Feeling the changes in his body, Jinwoo Ma smiled slightly. This is completely different from the era I lived in. In the past, many talents spent their entire lives trying to carve stone with tree branches. Even if they succeeded before death, they were already obsolete. And I happened to see one guy just before being sealed. Thinking of this, the ring on Jinwoo Ma's hand instantly transformed into a sharp long sword. The next second, it directly pierced through Volter's body, and Volter crumbled to pieces in an instant. At this, Jinwoo Ma smiled wickedly. You need to use the right way to speak. After Jinwoo Ma easily defeated Volter with the Eternal Steel, Rina told Clarence about this news. Clarence found it hard to believe that a small ring could have such value. But anyway, they are our opponents. Giving us such precious things, wouldn't it be? Rina signaled him not to worry. They're doing this for their own civilization too, and the contract is written clearly. At this moment, the somewhat impatient Jinwoo Ma interrupted the two. Isn't the next match supposed to start soon? Then stop talking about things that are already over. Let's go watch the match. After Jinwoo Ma and Rina left, Marcel couldn't help but speak up. That guy is really amazing. He actually saved Earth in just a few months. And me? I got help from an entire planet for over 10 years. Before he could finish, Clarence suddenly interrupted. What are you talking about? Marcel, you've already done what you should. That day you persisted until the end, and now we stand together, so don't think like that. Hearing this, Marcel silently lowered his head. Meanwhile, arriving at the viewing platform, Jinwoo Ma asked, will the winner among them be my next opponent? Rina gave a negative answer. Other matches haven't finished yet, so we can't determine the final opponent. But speaking of which, that guy will be in great danger in this match, because his opponent is the 744th ranked Tanrian Ragnar, also known as the Terminator of lower civilizations. Their ability is to manipulate invisible, powerful arms. As she spoke, the host's voice suddenly rang out. Panon player chose to take the initiative to attack, but his attack didn't cause effective damage to player Ragnar. He even suffered continuous counterattacks. Seeing this, Rina looked puzzled. Why attack so blindly? Doesn't he know his opponent's strength? But thinking about it, lower-level civilizations probably don't have information about their opponents. Thinking this, her gaze was suddenly attracted by someone not far away. Isn't that guy Kulak? Why does he look so heavy? After thinking about their previous experiences together, she finally decided to go over and show concern. Your representative clearly released super strong cosmic power before, but now why is he being attacked one-sidedly? Kulak wasn't clear about this either, but he knew that recently Big Brother's body had been very unwell. Especially at the beginning of matches, he can't exert any strength at all. Hearing this, Rina seemed to think of something. Could that guy also be suffering from the same side effects as Jinwoo Ma? At this time, Panon, who had been passive in the arena, finally felt his power recovering. Because he had vaguely seen that guy's true face. Just need to hold on a little longer. Thinking this, a fist the size of a sandbag suddenly struck. The powerful force directly sent him flying several meters. Without letting him catch his breath, Ragnar launched his finishing blow at him. Although Panon player held up well, he finally fell down, now entering the countdown. But just as the host counted to 4, Panon's body suddenly changed. Before Ragnar could react, the next second, a dark force instantly bound him tightly. The standing Panon spoke calmly. I see it all clearly. Now I finally understand why you're called the Terminator of lower civilizations. For civilizations that can't harness cosmic power, your invisible arms are indeed deadly. With that, he swung his fist and struck. After the inspection was completed, the host immediately announced the match result. Group 6 Preliminary Match 4, Panon player wins. At the same time, Kulak asked Rina in disbelief for confirmation. You mean Panon Big Brother couldn't use his power at the beginning of the match? Rina confirmed. It's due to the side effects of the suppressor. Bodies with cosmic power like that will have their strength limited. Lower civilizations generally find it hard to know this information, so your big brother probably doesn't know the reason either. Kulak gritted his teeth and asked back, is your situation the same as ours? Rina affirmed, but we've already found a way to alleviate it, so just tell all this to your big brother. As she was leaving, Kulak suddenly called out to Rina. As a return for being helped, I'll also tell you some intelligence that you might not be able to obtain. It's about the opponent in the final preliminary. That is, the final preliminary will change the competition rules. Rina was very puzzled by this. What is that? Why haven't we heard such a notice? Kulak explained, this notice should have been announced only after all 4th round matches ended. But among the civilizations, entering the 3rd stage, some people have already obtained the intelligence in advance. And those people are actively seeking cooperation partners. We refused their proposal, so we didn't hear the exact rules. But what's certain is that the upcoming competition won't be one-on-one. After Kulak left, Rina was still puzzled. If what that guy said is true, why haven't other civilizations come to find us except for the elves? Although our civilization's performance isn't very good, Jinwoo Ma's strength shouldn't be enough to cause exclusion. To verify her thoughts, She first told Jinwoo Ma about this matter, then brought him to the street district. Jinwoo Ma also saw through her purpose. So you came to the streets, to attract attention from other civilizations? Rina confirmed, it's easier to contact other civilizations here than inside the competition venue. Although I don't want to be on the same ship as aliens, if the rules really change we must team up with a strong. And the guys who know the rules in advance are most likely top-ranked civilizations, so those who approach us first definitely won't be weak. After wandering for 3 days like this, they didn't receive a single invitation. While confused, Ackerman's figure suddenly appeared silently beside Rina. Seeing this, Rina was startled. What's the situation? How are you here? It seems you're looking for someone to cooperate with in the final round. Unfortunately, even if you wait 100 years, no one will invite you. Rina immediately retorted. But the elves also approached us before. Ackerman indicated that guy's strength wasn't the problem. But that guy's strongest trump card is already known to everyone. Who would risk cooperating with them? Of course, if it were me, as long as we exchange intelligence, I'd have cooperation intentions. After all, I'm the 925th ranked representative from planet Euphoria. This made Rina fall into deep thought. Looking at the other party's reaction, is the final battle really a team match? But why would that guy tell us these things? At this time, Jinwoo Ma suddenly spoke, very confident. Are you hiding some powerful skills? Ackerman responded, I have whatever you want. Rina knew things weren't simple, but soon she thought of something else. So she immediately spoke, you probably don't have anyone to team up with either, right? This made Ackerman immediately flustered. What do you mean? Just from rankings, I'm in the upper circle. Rina explained, because you just said. No one wants to join us, doesn't that mean you're the same? You're the Dark Clan that establishes Civilization Foundation through trading information. Any intelligence that falls into your hands gets publicized to the entire universe. If we cooperate with you, wouldn't that be equivalent to making Earth civilization's important secrets public? Ackerman smiled sinisterly. Shouldn't you be thinking about surviving first? We publicly claim cosmic power as a tool, but few people know our combat strength. This immediately interested Jinwoo Ma. Indeed, I should team up with you. But I'm still curious about the strength you're hiding. Rina's heart also wavered. Thinking carefully, we really can't fight those civilizations alone. This is a gamble worth trying, but... At this time, Ackerman suddenly made a proposal. In the final battle regarding seizing each other's intelligence and abilities, regardless of the outcome, neither side can raise objections. How about it? Hearing this, Jinwoo Ma immediately agreed. In contrast, Rina was very depressed. Even if we team up, there's no need to form such an unpopular... Before she could finish, Ackerman suddenly interrupted. Did you come here without definite intelligence? Although the rules haven't been officially announced, the final preliminary is an individual death tournament. The purpose of teaming up isn't victory or defeat, but survival. Saying this, he angrily pushed the two. You stupid guys, hurry back to the arena. That guy's death tournament has already started. This made Rina very puzzled. Are there other unknown pieces of intelligence besides the death tournament? Unknown to them, in the corner behind them, a mysterious person had just dealt with a civilization representative. Indeed, that spider person is very good at reading situations. Anyway, there's still plenty of time. We'll meet again next time. After Ackerman told Rina everything, Rina immediately found Earth's Commander-in-Chief Clarence, and hoped he would notify everyone never to leave the arena. It turned out that 2 hours ago, Ackerman told her that a murderer had appeared in the Zone 3 preliminaries, and was dealing with contestants who entered the final preliminaries outside the venue. Because acting outside the arena was more advantageous for them. They not only mastered the characteristics of each civilization, but also possessed hypnotic cosmic power. They often used hypnosis to lure contestants to their lairs for assassination. This was how those madmen made their living. And as the results showed, except for the first round, they won effortlessly every time. Although places like arenas are relatively safe, those madmen have many tricks. So not only can't we let our guard down, we must also manage our own people well. Now Clarence finally understood Rina's deep meaning. That is to say, each of us could become hostages. Rina confirmed, so external personnel must also return to the team quickly. Hearing this, Mark's face was filled with unease. We haven't been able to contact Coach Steele since this morning. Could it be related to those madmen? Hearing this, Rina felt something was wrong. Commander, please report to the Alliance immediately. Ackerman spoke up first. It's useless. They won't leave any traces. They're the universe's most excellent experts in that regard. Besides, the Alliance isn't the charitable organization you expect. Without any evidence, they'll definitely handle it perfunctorily. Just like the contestants, who fought that madman before, so why not just abandon that fool? Compared to civilization representatives, abandoning one fool isn't a bad choice. Hearing this, Marcel looked unwilling. But just as he was about to go rescue, Jinwoo Ma spoke first. I'll go find that fool back. Even without this matter, I wanted to meet that madman, so there's no reason to refuse. Let that madman meet me first. This surprised Ackerman greatly. You need to fight that madman while wearing a suppressor? Or do you have confidence to confront him without cosmic power? Even if you have countermeasures, once hypnotized, you'll become useless. However, Jinwoo Ma was already prepared. He first placed his hand on Marcel's head, then showed an intriguing smile. As long as the person caught in the lair isn't me, wouldn't that be fine? The scene shifts. Walking on the street, Jinwoo Ma suddenly began inexplicably walking toward a deserted area. After reaching the depths, a figure and a giant python were quietly waiting there. As the man raised his arm, the python cooperatively opened its bloody mouth. When Jinwoo Ma walked to the python's belly, what came into view was not only Steel's figure, but also a fierce giant python and countless sinister eyes. So it's an ordinary lower civilization. As soon as the words fell, the next second that giant python opened its mouth and attacked. Seeing this, Jinwoo Ma smiled wickedly at the corner of his mouth. Lower civilization? How can you compare me to them? With that, he directly charged forward with his sword. The terrifying power even split the giant python in two. Afterwards, Jinwoo Ma, revealing his true form, pulled the hypnotized Marcel and asked, "How is it? Pretty handsome disguise, right?" To prevent being discovered, I specially injected my aura into him. After all, I had a previous lesson, so of course I had to be careful this time. But the mysterious person didn't care about this. What he cared more about was how the Earthling had the elves' cosmic power. It seems you want to play clever tricks in the arena, but today you won't leave here alive. The speaker was Version, the 986th ranked representative from Serpenian. Hearing this, Jinwoo Ma smiled contemptuously. Just bring it on. At this time, Bark beside Version suddenly discovered something. Young master, the situation doesn't seem as good as imagined. That Earthling has something from planet Infouria. Could it be that Spider-Person spy robot? Before Version could think, Jinwoo Ma spoke first. Don't worry about those insignificant things. Anyway, I'll finish within the time I need. Seeing the Earthling so arrogant, Bark immediately waved his hand. The next second, countless giant pythons attacked Jinwoo Ma. Seeing this, Jinwoo Ma looked excited. Finally can test the new weapon. Immediately after, he cut down all the pythons with devastating force. As Bark was getting angry, Asus beside him seemed to notice something. That guy's weapon is unusual. Saying this, he didn't forget to mock, "Lord Bark, are you all right? If this continues, all your basilisks will be gone." Bark looked up at the ceiling with gritted teeth. "Belmore, immediately get that kid for me." Before he could finish, Version suddenly warned, "If you use the basilisks in strange places, I won't forgive you. Even if you don't understand what the basilisk Belmore represents, you should see that guy's weapon is dangerous. Do you want to act emotionally?" Bark still expressed dissatisfaction. "Is this enough now?" At this moment, when every inch counts, still talking about peace, Asus smiled contemptuously. "Peace? I'm ready to hunt." Saying this, she turned her gaze to Jinwoo Ma. "Earthling, don't resist uselessly, or your fellow's life will be—" As she spoke, Jinwoo Ma directly flew up and cut the bonds on the coach, then pressed his long sword directly against Version's face. This surprised Version greatly. How is this possible? Clearly wearing a suppressor but still able to make such movements. With that, he began using hypnosis on Jinwoo Ma. However, Jinwoo Ma, who had anticipated this, directly stabbed himself with a sword. Petty tricks. The mushroom head talks so much my ears are getting calloused. And the suppressor having no effect is pure self-deception. As he spoke, countless basilisks attacked again, only to be easily resolved by Jinwoo Ma again. Really disappointing. If this continues, I won't be able to know the weapon's performance. However, just as he finished speaking, Marcel suddenly bound him tightly from behind. Asus smiled sinisterly. "Can't be careless during hunting. If you stop now, perhaps I'll—" Before she could finish, Jinwoo Ma mercilessly punched Marcel. And this punch completely restored Marcel's consciousness. "I was last at the arena, then became an alien's bait, so I was hypnotized just now." Jinwoo Ma paid no attention and raised his sword again. "Now let me properly experience your strength." Seeing this, Bark responded to Asus with mockery. "Seems your hunting method doesn't work." Still unwilling to give up, Asus shouted at the top of her lungs, "The guy you want to save is still in my hands." However, Jinwoo Ma put on an indifferent attitude. "That fool? Kill him if you want. I came here simply to test the new weapon, but the result is too disappointing because you have no testing value at all." As he spoke, Version suddenly approached him. "Is this weapon that eternal steel?" Seeing this, Jinwoo Ma launched an attack without hesitation, but it was all easily resolved by Version. At this, Jinwoo Ma looked excited. "So you do have value for me to act." But just as he finished speaking, he was kicked down by Version. Then another kick firmly pressed him to the ground. "Ackerman, I originally wanted to crush the guy you fancied directly, but now I finally understand why you care about him. Although I don't know what you're scheming, I have no intention of reporting it. Now that the lair's location has been discovered, the hunting ends here. But you should be clear that you're already on my hunting list." Hearing this, Ackerman at the base smiled slightly. "Didn't expect to be on your mind. Really looking forward to that day." With an order, Belmore directly opened its bloody mouth and approached Version. "I'll be waiting for you in the finals." However, in this situation, Jinwoo Ma's mind flashed back to the scene of slaughtering Shaolin Temple. Still talking about having invincible golden body protection. "In my view, you're ultimately just a pile of scrap metal." Hearing this, the staff-wielding abbot of Shaolin Temple immediately flew into a rage. With a great roar. The next second, he shattered Jinwoo Ma's skull with one punch. But soon he sensed something wrong. The headless guy actually pierced his chest with a sword. This made the staff wielder suddenly realize. So you're the mad demon rumored in the martial world. But what puzzled him was why create slaughter in a peaceful era. Jinwoo Ma smiled wickedly. Of course it's to seize power. Looking at Jinwoo Ma's calm expression, the staff wielder became even angrier. Just for these things you'd sacrifice tens of thousands of lives? You heaven-damned guy. Before he could finish, Jinwoo Ma mercilessly split him in two. Looking at the temple littered with corpses, he couldn't help but sneer. Tens of thousands of lives are just some worthless lower people. And what I want is to ascend to the zenith of all beings. After Jinwoo Ma opened his eyes, he immediately alertly grabbed the wrist of the strange woman in front of him. What are you doing to me? Seeing this, Rina quickly stopped him. She's our Earth Team colleague. Hearing this, Jinwoo Ma looked puzzled. I was clearly in those guys' lair. Did I transfer to outside, space through the snakehead? But how did I get back here? At this time, the strange woman shyly introduced herself. Mr. Jinwoo Ma, being able to see you at such close distance is truly an honor. I'm Sierra Lin, leader of Earth's medical team. Please take care of me from now on. With that, Rina continued to supplement. She's the first human to discover cosmic power, and a witness to human civilization's rise. The reason you woke up so quickly is the effect of her treating you with cosmic power. Hearing this, Jinwoo Ma suddenly stood up and interrupted. I'm not interested in these things. Now quickly take me to the cafeteria for a good meal. Hearing this, Sierra Lin asked embarrassedly, Leader Rina, can I go to the restaurant with you? Rina first agreed to her request, then called Mark, who had already finished eating. Soon after arriving at the restaurant, Rina immediately expressed gratitude to Jinwoo Ma for rescuing the coach, and also told him that, except for a few necessary members, other Earth Team colleagues would all evacuate GSP planet. The necessary personnel consisted of herself, Mark, and team leader Lin. Hearing this, Jinwoo Ma directly revealed the purpose. Isn't it just to let useless guys quit? Although what he said was correct, Jinwoo Ma's way of saying it still made her somewhat dissatisfied. However, Sierra Lin affirmed Jinwoo Ma's words. That kind of trash staying would only cause unnecessary trouble for Mr. Jinwoo Ma. But as soon as she said this, she immediately felt ashamed for her slip of tongue. What on earth am I saying? Afterwards, Jinwoo Ma asked Sierra Lin why she would stay behind. Rina indicated that Team Leader Bai could help treat you when your abilities are sealed. Sierra Lin also expressed her position. I will definitely do my utmost to take care of Mr. Jinwoo Ma. Compared to the sacrifices you've made for humanity, what I can do is insignificant. As everyone knows, we lost many of our kind due to infectious diseases. On this planet, expecting treatment methods, we gained nothing. But just when we were in despair, Mr. Jinwoo Ma gave us hope. He's simply a savior who came to the world wearing human disguise. Saying this, she directly took a fork and stabbed her own arm. And he possesses the ability to save more humans. Isn't this a miracle? Before she could finish, Jinwoo Ma suddenly interrupted. But compared to you three, why didn't that guy stay? Mark asked who he was referring to. Jinwoo Ma immediately gave a simple description. That red-haired guy, the most useful one among you. Hearing this, Rina immediately understood what he meant. If you're talking about Marcel, he's currently missing. The scene shifts. Just as the Earth team was making final preparations to evacuate GSP planet, Rina brought Commander Clarence and Combat Coach Steele to find Jinwoo Ma. Their purpose was to pay their highest respects to this civilization representative who saved Earth before leaving. But Jinwoo Ma scoffed at this. From initially misinterpreting others' meanings to now saying things like grateful and fortunate, it's really annoying. However, faced with Jinwoo Ma's sarcasm, Coach Steele not only wasn't angry, but very sincerely made a request, asking Jinwoo Ma to find Marcel. Because before implementing the kidnapping plan, he was dejected all day. Maybe after his body became like that, he completely lost hope in himself. This made Jinwoo Ma deeply empathetic. In his previous life, although he could single-handedly kill various strong opponents, seeing those scenes full of happiness, he realized that even standing at the zenith of all beings, he would ultimately have nothing. This was like that fool. Compared to being Earth civilization's representative, he was more afraid of being worthless. After the Earth team evacuated, Rina led Jinwoo Ma to the arena, because today was the last day of preliminaries. After the competition ended, the final preliminary rules would also be announced. That is to say, today all those advancing to the final competition would gather here. As the last match began, Pari player took the lead in attacking, but compared to the intense scene in the arena, Rina fell into contemplation. 3 months had passed. When first arriving on this planet, Earthlings were still the most inconspicuous existence, but now humans could completely rival those guys. And all this was really thanks to Jinwoo Ma. At this time, Panin suddenly came forward to greet them. Are you also here to confirm the final competition rules? This time I plan to fight alone. Have you decided on cooperation partners? Rina shook her head. Although not very certain, there's one we want to work with. Saying this, a voice suddenly interrupted her. Not very certain? That's really hurtful. The newcomer was Akramin. To save your fellow, wasn't I sincere enough? Panin immediately recognized her as that unlucky mushroom head from before, although they had only met once. Her attitude of not being optimistic about Earthlings at that time still left a deep impression on him. Ackerman cleared her throat awkwardly, then quickly changed the subject. The match is over. Seems like Taroka from planet Bennu won. Then the host's voice rang out. Now all preliminary matches are finished. Representatives who advanced to the preliminary finals, you've worked hard. Next, I will announce to everyone present the method and rules of the preliminary finals. The preliminary final competition method is a speed race. Simply put, whoever reaches the destination earliest will win. The starting point of the speed race is the edge of each area's city. When the competition begins, participants' suppressors will automatically be removed. Participants just need to find the entrance to the official competition arena. The entrance is located somewhere on the planet outside the cities. Just pass through that entrance to enter the official arena, and the speed race will end. The competition rule is that there are no rules, and everyone is allowed to use various means. After the announcement, looking at the few people not far away, two advanced contestants immediately got ideas. Ackerman, do you really want to team up with those lower guys? But her strength isn't much either. How about we find a chance to deal with them first? During their secret conversation, Ackerman suddenly turned her gaze toward them. When the two came to their senses, they discovered that a spy robot had somehow appeared beside them without notice. I advise you not to entertain wild thoughts. Everything must proceed according to my plan. At this moment, just after the host announced the format and rules of the final qualifying round, contestants from various civilizations gathered at the starting point. After everyone had assembled, the host's voice suddenly rang out. Before departure, I will repeat the competition rules once more. The final qualifying round will last 1 week. The first 100 contestants to arrive within 1 week will advance. Friendly reminder, in the last competition, only 42 contestants advanced. We will also broadcast this round live throughout. Everyone can see each contestant's specific location through the screens. Now prepare for the countdown to begin. As the countdown ended, one contestant instantly sprinted 100 meters away. This person was none other than Spirok, from planet Cass, known throughout the universe for his speed. However, just when he thought advancement was within reach, a rapid beeping sound suddenly rang out. Immediately after, a deafening explosion erupted at his location. But before the culprit could celebrate for even 2 seconds, the next moment, he too met his end with his body torn apart. Watching the rapidly decreasing survival count on the screen, Mark couldn't help but worry. It's chaos from the very start. That guy won't run into trouble too, will he? Hearing this, Sierra Lin immediately grabbed him by the collar. What kind of defeatist thinking is that? Don't you have faith in Jinwoo Ma? Then Rina also signaled everyone not to worry, as this kind of chaotic battle is very advantageous for someone with regenerative abilities. And indeed, that was exactly the case. But what surprised Ackerman was that Jinwoo Ma was actually channeling the cosmic power of the planet Trensbury people. Seeing this, the somewhat impatient Panan prepared to act alone, before Ackerman could warn him. The next second, a massive hammer sent him flying several meters. The attacker was Bengali from planet Chlorins, ranked 2261 in civilization. Finally found you, you arrogant primitive civilization being. You dared to refuse my companion's proposal. I believe I said that if you refused, you would definitely regret it. Upon hearing this, Ackerman immediately interrupted, because he chose to stay by my side. As she spoke, she slowly removed his gloves, then extended one finger and began a 3-second countdown. When she reached 1 second, Ackerman's figure instantly appeared before Bengali, with his finger pressed against Bengali's arm, before Bengali could react. The next second, his arm began to rapidly rot and sprout mushrooms. After Bengali lost all signs of life, another contestant quietly appeared behind Ackerman. The already alert Ackerman used the same method. With just a gentle touch, he once again resolved the crisis. Jinwoo Ma, who had just finished his power circulation, was quite surprised to see this. I didn't expect you to be even more formidable than I imagined. Just then, the command coordinator brought an emergency notification to all contestants. In 3 hours, the legendary monster Framor will begin its activity. Upon hearing this news, the contestants were all shocked. Even Ackerman began to panic and urgently urged Jinwoo Ma to proceed at full speed. With that, she carried Panan and ran toward the finish line. For the next 3 hours, absolutely do not leave the group, or each of our lives will be threatened. After an unknown amount of time, Panan also awakened from his unconsciousness. At this time, Jinwoo Ma inquired, "What exactly are we supposed to do staying in this wasteland?" Ackerman signaled that he shouldn't be anxious. This wasn't a meaningless waste of time without a plan, but rather waiting for the direction to advance, because I've already placed spy robots on all the contestants. But speaking of which, if they don't find the arena entrance soon, I'm afraid there won't be enough time. Jinwoo Ma naturally understood what she was referring to, but what puzzled him was, what kind of monster would make everyone so alarmed? Ackerman explained that Framor is a primordium that has existed since the birth of the universe. It possesses the ability to devour everything. It's a type of monster called a living disaster, and it was the most powerful life form before the End Sapiens appeared. At this point, an unidentified creature suddenly emerged from behind them. Seeing this, Jinwoo Ma immediately asked if this was Framor. Ackerman denied it, because he could see through this guy's true identity at a glance. Although it looks the same as Framework, this isn't the real one. This is more like a surprise prepared for the competition. As he spoke, Jinwoo Ma suddenly leaped up, then struck Framework directly with his sword. However, Framework was not only completely unharmed, but also heavily slammed Jinwoo Ma to the ground. At this moment, Panan seemed to remember something. Why the hell does this guy appear here? This puzzled Ackerman greatly. Do you know this guy? While channeling his cosmic power, Panan explained. I joined this competition specifically to be able to fight against this guy. With that, the next second, a dark force tightly bound Framework. But what Panan didn't expect was, Framework easily broke free from the restraints, seeing Panan being knocked away. Ackerman was completely shocked. Even dark matter didn't work? Although it's temporary, this is a skill that has even hindered Virtus before. Thinking this, she immediately removed her gloves. The next second, she pressed her finger against Framework's body. The result was as expected. Sure enough, even my spore bacteria won't work. At this moment, Panan, who had stood up, suddenly spoke. I'm sure you've noticed too, this guy isn't a single individual. No matter what method you use to attack, it will immediately evolve a corresponding form. That's right, this guy is a replica of Framer, known as the universe's end. And our civilization exists precisely to be devoured by these creatures. It turned out that before participating in the GSP championship, the Piglonian clan leader had met with Panan privately, and hoped he would stop letting his people bleed meaninglessly for illusory dreams. Panan immediately retorted, how long will we continue to worship that monster as a god and let our people serve as sacrifices? The clan leader was also helpless, because the only way to control the god is to offer living sacrifices. I also know it's not really a god, but would changing the name make any difference? If we don't pay tribute, it will crawl out of the black hole due to hunger. Then our civilization will surely face catastrophic disaster. This puzzled Panan greatly. Can't we cultivate power capable of defeating it? Seeing things had come to this, the clan leader could only tell him the secret buried in his heart. Long ago in this universe, there existed a fourth-tier civilization very skilled in biotechnology, the planet Nelfian people. At that time, for their own benefit, they went to great lengths to create these monsters. The planet Nelfian people needed quality food to control the monsters, and our bodies happen to contain substances that can calm them down. Although these monsters were eventually eliminated due to the appearance of the N-Sapiens, one guy still managed to escape. Upon hearing this, Panan still refused to believe, and even promised to personally shatter that so-called deity on the next offering day. However, reality gave him a harsh lesson. Not only did he fail to keep his promise, he also provoked the deity's anger. At the critical moment, the clan leader appeared with a living sacrifice just in time to prevent this catastrophe. I told you, didn't I? We were born to be food for this creature. This is a fate we can never escape no matter what. But your intention gives me comfort, because I have the same thoughts as you. Upon hearing this, Akramin was quite surprised. I didn't expect there were once civilizations destroyed by the N-Sapiens. This is truly interesting intelligence. But speaking of which, being able to collect various types of intelligence in this competition, is this really just coincidence? Just then, a massive structure suddenly appeared in the distance, and Ackerman recognized it immediately. This was the entrance to the final qualifying arena. But Panan advised her not to celebrate too early. Escaping from that thing's grasp isn't easy, unless it's focused on feeding. Hearing this, Ackerman suddenly thought of a method. Then she directly severed Jinwoo Ma's arm, and using her spore bacterial power, threw the arm toward Framework, watching the infinitely growing bacterial energy, and Framework's feasting scene. The group took the opportunity to run toward the entrance. However, before they could run far, the ground where Framework was suddenly collapsed, and as Framework fell into the endless black hole, the next second an eye radiating murderous intent emerged from the black hole. After Ackerman used cosmic power to gain an escape opportunity, they ran non-stop toward the final qualifying entrance. Little did they know, a team had already reached the arena, but what puzzled this team was that they had clearly sensed signs of life activity here in advance. Yet now they couldn't find a single person, and hadn't even found the entrance to the main arena. Just then, the planet Disperson, famous for his sensing abilities, suddenly detected a group of people approaching. And the approaching people were none other than Jinwoo Ma's group. Seeing this, the square-faced man immediately issued a warning. This stronghold has already been occupied by us. If you're smart, you'll leave immediately. Hearing this, Jinwoo Ma was about to take action. But the next second, Ackerman actually kicked Panan to the ground. Before Panan could ask why, a sharp blade suddenly swept over their heads, splitting Jinwoo Ma in half. This shocked the planet Disperson, who witnessed everything. Another guy has appeared, and the lion-maned man who revealed himself in the distance looked displeased. What lucky bastards. Since one is already dead, the rest can join him in burial. However, Ackerman showed an intriguing smile. At the same time, a mechanical spider had somehow appeared on the lion-maned man. I knew of your existence long ago. In my book, a discovered sniper is as good as dead. If you don't want to die, just obediently come over to our side. Hearing this, the lion-maned man angrily gathered his cosmic power. The next second, countless blades shot rapidly toward Ackerman. However, Ackerman remained calm and composed. Moving gracefully, she perfectly avoided all attacks. It's not too late to come to our side now, otherwise you'll be in danger. Looking at Ackerman's eerie smile, The lion-maned man broke out in cold sweat, but before he could understand the deeper meaning, a figure quietly appeared behind him. After everything returned to calm, the team at the arena was about to investigate. The next second, Jinwoo Ma appeared before them dragging the battered lion-maned man. And Akramin, who followed closely behind, showed an eerie smile. How about we cooperate once? Afterward, Akramin shared her theory with everyone. Whenever 9 or more contestants gather together, communication between me and the mechanical spider gets cut off. So based on my speculation, this is very likely a phenomenon caused by the entrance opening. Hearing this, combined with the various situations they had just encountered, the planet Dis person immediately confirmed her idea. But what troubled everyone was that with their current numbers, they couldn't verify whether the speculation was true. Just then, the planet Dis person suddenly sensed a large number of life forms rapidly approaching, but before he could determine the exact number, Jinwoo Ma suddenly placed his hand on his head. Seeing this, the planet Dis person shook him off, and angrily demanded to know what he was trying to do. Jinwoo Ma responded calmly, "How fascinating. You can actually sense the activity patterns of surrounding life." As he spoke, he turned to look in another direction. Those guys seemed to be coming from over there. The planet Dis person was immediately shocked. Does this guy possibly have copying abilities? Akramin confirmed it. Besides that, this guy has many more surprises. Next, we'll prepare to welcome. Before she could finish speaking, Jinwoo Ma suddenly interrupted. There seems to be another very dangerous big guy. But when the group came to the city wall to look, they discovered running behind the contestants was actually the real framer. Seeing this, Akramin could only pray that someone could escape from its grasp. But Jinwoo Ma knew in his heart that there were currently no other life forms within thousands of meters. Once they lost these people, they might not be able to gather the required number. Thinking this, he proactively raised his sword and launched an attack. Seeing this scene, Akramin urgently tried to stop him. That thing is a universe disaster level monster. However, at this time, the contestants were still troubled by evading Framer's pursuit. But the planet Dober in person knew in his heart that continuing to flee like this wasn't a solution, so he immediately stopped, prepared to fight Framer to the death. But just then, a sword light suddenly flashed, finally piercing through Framer's head and into its mouth. The attacker was Earth's representative, Jinwoo Ma. However, the next second, he was torn to pieces. This was completely unexpected for Jinwoo Ma. That monster's head could actually grow anywhere. On the other side, Akramin, who witnessed everything, thought Jinwoo Ma was being reckless. But having come this far, she decided to go provide support. But facing the others who had the same idea, she immediately objected. What can you accomplish by going? As far as I know, you two aren't from civilizations skilled in combat. You only survived the preliminaries because you were lucky enough to be assigned to weak areas. But the two didn't agree with her assessment. You should know that the strongest warrior in the preliminaries was in our area. On the other side, Jinwoo Ma's group gradually began to fall into disadvantage. At this moment, the Doberan star person suddenly reminded, when that thing's eyes turn blue, absolutely don't make any sound. This puzzled Jinwoo Ma greatly. Are you referring to its current state? However, as soon as he finished speaking, an explosion suddenly erupted on the spot. Only then did Jinwoo Ma understand. Making any sound would trigger an explosion, and his disobedient behavior also caused the Doberan star person's dissatisfaction. Didn't I tell you not to make any sound? We almost had a total wipeout because of the explosion. You guys with regenerative abilities simply don't understand what caution means. While complaining, a sword light suddenly swept over their heads, and upon seeing it was a dimensional sword, the Doberan star person immediately recognized the attacker's identity. But before he could speak, Akramin, who had arrived, preemptively provided the answer. That guy is the representative of the planet Gotti people. It turns out the preliminaries are an event held only for civilizations ranked 500th and above, while those high-tier civilizations within the top 500 automatically qualify for the main competition. In other words, the highest-ranked civilization in the current preliminaries is 501, and this civilization's representative is asked of the planet Gotti people. Hearing this, Jinwoo Ma immediately developed intense interest in AST, but Akramin, who saw through everything, advised him to give up, because that guy is the man standing at the pinnacle of the preliminaries. However, just as Ast and Framer were fighting intensely, Akramin, who could foresee the future, flashed with unease in her eyes. A great explosion. Could Ast be the medium this time? Was this kind of ending destined from the very beginning when we had to face this disaster? As expected, accompanied by an earth-shattering explosion, the situation on the field also underwent a complete transformation. At this time, the survivors besides Akramin included Jinwoo Ma, but what shocked Akramin was, the culprit behind this explosion was actually the technique Jinwoo Ma had unleashed, the cosmic power of the End Sapien Moolander. Could this earthling even absorb divine techniques? Thinking this, she urgently shouted, "Jinwoo Ma, stop immediately!" Because she knew that if this continued, everything here would be drawn into this attack. However, Jinwoo Ma had already fallen into a state of madness, and couldn't hear what she was saying at all. Seeing this scene, Akramin immediately charged forward. It seems there's only that method left, this seemingly unremarkable earthling. had now perfectly replicated divine cosmic power. This action not only shocked everyone present, but even attracted the attention of the End Sapiens. He can even copy our techniques. This dangerous element must be eliminated on the spot. But Barakash beside him was dismissive. You're being far too alarmed about this crude imitator. Luminaire also agreed with his view. Everyone, don't forget that the real game is just beginning now. Though artificially created counterfeits aren't beautiful at all, he will prove to other civilizations that their existence is ignorant and wrong. Meanwhile, to prevent the situation from developing further, Akramin thought of a desperate measure, forcibly severing Jin Wolma's life force. And seeing that the method worked, she returned to the arena entrance carrying Jin Wolma's head. Then she asked Panon about the current number of people. But when she learned there were currently only 7 representatives, despair appeared on Akramin's face. However, just then, a voice suddenly came from behind. No, it's 9. But just as Akramin felt puzzled by this, a sword light suddenly swept past them. And after seeing the attacker's face clearly, Panon was immediately shocked. How is it this guy again? Wasn't he devoured by that attack just now? To this, Akramin seemed to see through something. Everyone quickly escaped from here. This guy is no longer aest. And when everyone had gathered at the arena, the entrance to the main competition directly opened. But before the group could run in, the stitched monster directly blocked their path. Seeing this, Akramin immediately felt something was wrong. This entrance mechanism requires these people to gather together to open. If there's any reduction in numbers, the entrance will close immediately. In their moment of desperation, Jin Wolma suddenly woke up. Stop wasting time. As long as I get close enough to him, I have a way to get everyone through the entrance. Hearing this, the group immediately ran toward the stitched monster, and after reaching a certain distance, countless dark forces instantly bound the stitched monster tightly. Thus, after everyone successfully entered the entrance, when the planet Dis person opened his eyes again, what met his gaze was Jinwoo Ma's figure. This puzzled him greatly. What are you doing? Jinwoo Ma explained, I can't find a single intact shirt anywhere, so I plan to wear yours. Hearing this, he realized a battle had already taken place here. But what puzzled him was, where did the other 2 guys go? And upon hearing that there were only the 2 of them when he woke up, he couldn't help but speculate. Could it be that even entering from the same entrance, they're randomly scattered? Just then, Jinwoo Ma's voice suddenly interrupted his thoughts. By the way, you seem quite badly injured. In that condition, you'd just be a burden. Hearing this, the planet Dis person was immediately shocked. He'd actually let his guard down in front of an enemy. But in his current state, he couldn't possibly fight this guy. Could this be the end? However, just as he prepared to resign himself to fate, he discovered that Jinwoo Ma not only didn't harm him at all, but was actually healing his wounds. This greatly puzzled the planet Dis person. This final is an individual battle. Why are you helping me, your enemy? Hearing this, Jinwoo Ma smiled wickedly. Isn't it obvious? How could I leave behind a high-performance detector like you? So now hurry and scout the strong opponents around us, then come back and tell me. However, as soon as he finished speaking, the planet Dis person's eyes suddenly showed something strange. But before Jinwoo Ma could understand why, a figure suddenly appeared from nowhere. You don't even have a decent weapon anymore. Saying this, he swung with all his might at Jinwoo Ma. And after seeing that the attacker was Version, Jinwoo Ma immediately became excited. Dealing with you doesn't require weapons. Then several blue blades grew from within his body, with a blue light flashing. Jinwoo Ma easily broke free from Version's restraint. While recognizing this as the cosmic power of the planet Mantrax people, Version launched another fierce offensive. Seeing this scene, Jinwoo Ma forcefully slammed his foot toward the ground. The tremendous power caused layers of smoke to rise from the battlefield. To this, Version chuckled coldly. Are you planning to aim for vital points by disrupting vision? Too bad, this body has no vital points. However, as soon as he finished speaking, an unknown object suddenly grazed past his face and directly penetrated the scales of Basilisk. And after seeing that the object was just an ordinary stone, he was immediately shocked again. It's actually the cosmic power of the planet Decabru's people. Jinwoo Ma confirmed. Now even without that iron block, as long as there are materials that can serve as weapons, I can create weapons anywhere. However, as soon as he finished speaking, a wave of dizziness struck, and his body began to lose control. But just when Version thought he had lost a competitor, Jinwoo Ma actually left behind a clone and ran in the opposite direction. Seeing this scene, Version immediately understood, so it was the planet Dis person's doing. After running for an unknown amount of time, watching contestant Jinwoo Ma's uncharacteristic competitive appearance, not only was Mark confused, even Jinwoo Ma himself was completely puzzled. How did I suddenly become like this? However, Rina saw through the mystery. That's not Jinwoo Ma, but the planet Dis person. They can not only project their bodies onto opponents, but also control them at will. But what puzzled Rina was, why would a civilization that clearly values individualism use such an unfamiliar method to help Jinwoo Ma? It turned out this was all simply because Jinwoo Ma had extended a helping hand to him, and this was the first time he had felt warmth. So he wanted to save Jinwoo Ma. Even if his entire body was misaligned and his organs burst, he would willingly never give up. At this moment, Version's eyes revealed a cold gleam. You can still regenerate even after giving up bodily control. In that case, I'll just keep killing until you have a mental breakdown. However, just as he prepared to act, a green light suddenly burst from Jinwoo Ma's body and directly penetrated into his body. But just when the planet Dis person thought his plan had succeeded and he could freely control Version's body, he was actually tightly bound by thousands of snake creatures within Version. At this moment, Version's voice suddenly rang out. "Welcome to my body. Our civilization's people all store dozens or hundreds of snake creatures in their bodies, but I have thousands stored in mine. These snake creatures stored within me resonate with me, which means you can't do anything here." In desperation, Version suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. Thus, after escaping Version's body, facing Jinwoo Ma's rescue, the planet Dis person couldn't help but complain, "Do you know how much I suffered inside your body?" However, Jinwoo Ma's response was completely unexpected. "Thank you for your hard work. From the situation you were fighting in my place, right? Leave the rest to me, just focus on recovering." Hearing this, the planet Dis person's face immediately turned red with embarrassment. But just as he was about to warn about being careful of Version's hypnosis, Jinwoo Ma had somehow already fallen victim to it. Seeing the scene, the planet Dis person, who already understood Jinwoo Ma's regeneration principle, immediately severed his head, and the now conscious Jinwoo Ma directly delivered a painful blow to Version. After seeing the severely injured Version flee, Jinwoo Ma remembered the planet Dis person's detection abilities again. Meanwhile, Panon and Akramin both fell on the battlefield, and the one who defeated them was the stitched monster created by the End Sapiens. It turns out that an hour ago, when Panon regained consciousness, he immediately saw Akramin beside him. But just as he was about to ask something, Akramin hurriedly gestured for him to stay silent, then she pointed ahead. Upon seeing the stitched monster, Panon broke out in a cold sweat, not expecting this monster to have entered as well. Was it still unconscious? Akramin confirmed this, suggesting they should take the opportunity to escape quickly. However, before she could finish speaking, an angry roar suddenly came from behind. "You damned bunch actually dare to bring such humiliation to the most dazzling being in the universe. Although I was ambushed by that despicable person before, you won't be so lucky this time. Today, I'm going to eliminate all three of you right here." Upon hearing this, Akramin immediately understood everything. She then pulled Panon away, dodging the stitched monster's sudden attack. Fortunately, the stitched monster didn't pursue them. Instead, it landed its punch on Olmian from planet Rain, ranked 572nd in civilization. Olmian, who took the hit head-on, was furious. "I should have told you already, such methods are useless now. All of you watch carefully. In this state, I'm more dazzling than anyone." Watching such earth-shaking combat, Akramin suddenly had a question. Could that planet Rain person possibly evolve his ability to the next stage? Ability evolution refers to a realm that only those who can perfectly control their own abilities can reach. But civilizations capable of this level of third-tier evolution are extremely rare. Hearing this, Panon immediately asked if successful evolution would make it possible to defeat that monster. Akramin immediately denied his idea. That monster's evolution has already transcended our common sense. Although we currently cannot defeat it, I do have a way to escape. With that, she slowly removed her gloves. Then without hesitation, she pressed them against Panon. Just like that, after the mushrooms absorbed all their energy, the stitched monster left without looking back. Akramin wasn't surprised by this. She had already figured out that the monster only attacks places with strong energy. Meanwhile, the battle between Jinwoo Ma and Version had reached a white-hot intensity. Version continued his relentless attacks, while not forgetting to use hypnosis techniques on Jinwoo Ma. Fortunately, the planet Dis person kept providing subtle assistance from the side. This allowed him to maintain his consciousness time and again. But after being knocked away for the umpteenth time, his face revealed an intriguing smile. "I didn't expect this guy to be even more troublesome than I imagined." Hearing this, the Dis planet person couldn't help but complain. "Is now the time for admiration? You're currently that guy's primary target. Unless one of you two dies, this battle will never stop. So we must find a way to escape quickly." Just then, Version suddenly spoke. "It seems I overestimated you. You no longer have any value for continued hunting. Originally, I had some expectations for your abilities, but now it seems you can only use one ability at a time." With that, he unleashed his full power in a deadly strike. At that moment, Jinwoo Ma suddenly realized something. He then experimentally wielded the cosmic power of both the planet Decabru's people and the planet Mantrax people. This left the Displanet person, who witnessed the entire process, shocked, to actually fuse the abilities of two civilizations. This level of controllability has probably reached 5th-tier civilization standards. No, it should be said this is already the work of gods, and Version was shattered to pieces by his single move. Is this guy really an Earthling? Is it possible for someone from a lower civilization to become this strong so quickly? Thinking this, looking at Version still writhing, the Displanet person urgently reminded, "Earthling, quickly go destroy that guy. If you let him escape, he'll definitely come back later." But compared to this defeated opponent, Jinwoo Ma was more interested in whether there were stronger opponents around. Hearing this, the Displanet person immediately expressed dissatisfaction. Are you really treating me like a detector? Jinwoo Ma didn't respond, instead giving him another round of praise. After seeing your abilities, I finally know just how amazing you really are. Upon hearing this, the displanet person not only felt delighted inside, but even boasted that if he put his mind to it, his detection range could expand by another 2 times. Meanwhile, Panon, having recovered his abilities, immediately expressed dissatisfaction with Akramin's actions. While apologizing, Akramin also expressed helplessness. Don't you know how urgent the situation was just then? This left Panon stunned. Although that action made him very uncomfortable, thinking carefully, what she said wasn't unreasonable. If this woman hadn't stepped forward just now, perhaps. However, before he could finish thinking, a loud crash instantly pulled him back to reality. But after seeing the blue blade in the attacker's hand clearly, Akramin immediately recognized it as the cosmic power of the Decabrews people. After several more rounds of combat, after fully facing off with the opponent, Akramin immediately stopped her actions. Earthling, what are you doing? Seeing this, Jinwoo Ma showed a disappointed expression. I didn't expect it to be you, Mushroom Head. After the misunderstanding was cleared up, Akramin told him everything about their experience. But this only earned her a round of mockery from Jinwoo Ma. A mere stitched monster scared you into playing dead. It really takes me being here to handle things. With that, he chased off in the direction the stitched monster had gone. This made Akramin complain. I originally planned to set off later, but because of this single-celled Earthling, there's no way to follow the plan now. As several people followed, Akramin learned another shocking piece of news from the displanet person. Is what you're saying true? Did he really use 2 abilities simultaneously? Although there are civilizations among third-tier civilizations that can use more than 2 abilities, being able to use multiple abilities simultaneously without any restrictions is simply not something third-tier civilizations can achieve. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but wonder, where exactly does this Earthling's power come from? Time passed, no one knows how long. Seeing no sign of anyone, Jinwoo Ma immediately questioned, are you really detecting seriously? The displanet person also confirmed somewhat irritably, although no life signs were detected. Judging from the traces, an extremely brutal battle definitely occurred here. Just then, a figure suddenly landed beside them, but before the newcomer could react, Panon immediately used dark power to bind him tightly. Akramin recognized the newcomer at first glance. It was Genofi from planet Retai, ranked 610th in civilization. But after learning that Genofi was just looking for the exit to withdraw from the competition, Akramin immediately understood everything. The reason you're giving up now is because of a certain monster? Seeing this, Genofi had no choice but to tell the truth. Because of that monster's existence, the lower level of the arena now is no different from hell, and it seems to get stronger with each battle. Although this competition only requires reaching the finish line first. But the moment I made eye contact with that monster, every cell in my body seemed to be screaming for me to flee from here immediately. As he spoke, he suddenly shifted his gaze to Jinwoo Ma. Although I still haven't figured out the reason. Your appearance and that monster's... Before he could finish speaking, massive spikes suddenly erupted from the ground, while killing Genofi. They also launched attacks at the others. Seeing this scene, Akramin broke out in a cold sweat. Could it be a Saren planet person? As a huge explosion sounded, everyone finally saw the newcomer's face clearly. Isn't that Virtus? Which guy is fighting him? And after seeing the opponent's appearance clearly, everyone was even more shocked and froze in place. Jinwoo Ma? A GSP championship that determines the fate of civilizations. Yet a terrifying entity that belongs to no civilization has appeared. This leaves the spectators watching from outside the arena feeling puzzled. Isn't this the monster that appeared in Jinwoo Ma's skills? Why has it taken on Jinwoo Ma's appearance? And why has Virtus, the agent of the gods, appeared on the battlefield? It turns out that due to the monster's appearance disrupting their plans, the N-Sapiens could no longer sit still. Now there might not even be enough time to consider countermeasures, yet you reckless fools are still watching the show. Mulander agreed with Oz's statement. The current situation indeed required action. But at this moment, Luminel raised an objection. The GSP championship belongs to all the great civilizations. We have no reason to interfere in this matter. However, Oz dismissed this, saying if we must be specific, isn't that Earthling also someone unrelated to the competition? Arakaso then asked in return. But since it's a life form created using Earth technology, it can't be said to be completely unrelated. Seeing the situation reach an impasse, Arcanon immediately interrupted everyone's debate. How about we decide by voting as usual? As everyone expressed their positions one by one, the vote count surprisingly came to a 2-2 tie. Mulander, the only one who hadn't voted yet, thought it over repeatedly, then revealed an intriguing smile. He then called out Virtus's name. Virtus, agent of the gods, I now command you to deal with that monster. Thus, after Virtus arrived at the arena, he discovered the monster the gods spoke of actually looked identical to the Earthling he had fought before. While puzzled, a voice suddenly came from behind him. I didn't expect you to still have that shining appearance. How about we have a fight now? Today I'll definitely settle the score from before. However, Virtus paid no attention to Jinwoo Ma's provocation, as he had only one goal for coming here. That was to eliminate the monster of unknown origin. Seeing this scene, Ackerman sensed something was amiss. Although this monster's strength is catastrophic for the contestants, the management team was able to make a decision so quickly. This is simply too abnormal. What exactly had she overlooked? However, while Ackerman was thinking, the stitched monster suddenly appeared before her. Even though she retaliated at the fastest speed possible, she was still dodged by the stitched monster. Fortunately, Virtus also arrived at this moment. But the stitched monster left behind an intriguing remark. "Mushroom Head, I'll leave the rest to you." Then immediately engaged in combat with Virtus again. Seeing this scene, Panon took the opportunity to run to Ackerman's side with concern. But the next second, he stared in disbelief. Ackerman's hand had pierced straight through his abdomen. Before he could understand why, he fainted from the intense pain. Ackerman slowly stood up. Her eyes emanated a cold glint. A waste actually trying to get close, how foolish. Former allies who once fought side by side, now in the finals of the preliminaries, had become mortal enemies in close combat. This surprised the planet Dis person. Although he thought the Earthling who could fight the Hunter on equal terms was strong, Ackerman's displayed strength still exceeded his expectations. At the same time, Jinwoo Ma was puzzled by her transformation. "Mushroom Head, what exactly is your purpose for suddenly doing this?" Ackerman smiled wickedly. While launching another attack, she left behind another intriguing remark. "Ignorant fools like you wouldn't understand that person's intentions." This made Jinwoo Ma fall into deep thought. Who exactly was that person? And why did she look so blissful now? It turns out that long ago, adult Euphoria people would follow their instincts, to travel the universe collecting intelligence on all life forms. This intelligence would be recorded and transmitted in real time on planet Euphoria. But compared to this innate mission, Ackerman harbored doubts about how her species was born and what guided them to wisdom. Therefore, to resolve her inner confusion, she ultimately chose to participate in the GSP championship and began collecting lost intelligence, the birth of civilization, the true masters of the Euphoria, the purpose of collecting intelligence, and why all Euphoria forget their birth history. Until now, Ackerman finally understood everything. It turns out the creator worried their existence would cause unnecessary disputes, so their memories were completely sealed away, while also assigning each of them the task of collecting intelligence. But what worried the Euphoria was that if they could never see their creator again, the intelligence they collected would become meaningless. The creator indicated they need not worry, promising to definitely return, and left them a code phrase, access code 0. Now Ackerman attacked while mocking. "Stupid Earthling, quickly surrender your body, that's our creator's flesh. If you want to use others' abilities, at least understand what they are before using them." Unfortunately, this blade's ability cannot turn the head into a weapon. Having said this, she seized the opportunity and kicked Jinwoo Ma to the ground with one strike. This made Jinwoo Ma fall into thought. He seemed to see dozens of steps ahead, although it felt completely different from simply guessing movements. Even so, he probably couldn't anticipate what would happen next. Thinking this, dozens of giant pythons suddenly emerged from behind him. After seeing it was version, Ackerman was immediately startled. "Damn it, why is this guy here?" However, Jinwoo Ma revealed a meaningful smile. Even if that woman moves fast, she probably can't use her full strength against those troublesome little snakes. Thus, after Jinwoo Ma escaped in the chaos, Ackerman, left behind, glared at Version with displeasure. "I'm going after that guy. If you dare interfere again, I'll deal with you too." Hearing this, the enraged Version immediately launched an attack. "After I deal with you, that guy is mine." Meanwhile, while Virtus and the stitched monster were locked in fierce battle, Jinwoo Ma's figure suddenly appeared behind Virtus. "Big Metalhead, I'm returning that debt from that day." Having said this, a fusion skill filled with terrifying power landed solidly on Virtus. This sent Virtus into complete rage. "Damn Ant, this time I absolutely won't show you mercy again." A man conducted just one living experiment, yet it brought the condemnation of the End Sapiens. Only because the living experiment that could allow the gods to reach immortal enlightenment nearly plunged the entire universe into great catastrophe again. Previously, the stitched monster suddenly posed a question to Virtus. "Judge of gods, are you Mulander's masterpiece? That guy seems to have wanted a toy for a long time." Seeing Virtus delay his response, the stitched monster changed the topic again. "Rather than that, how about releasing the power you're hiding behind you now?" Having said this, he flashed forward for a surprise attack, but was caught by Virtus, who seized the opportunity, while throwing him away. His left hand instantly gathered light energy, but just as the light energy was about to fire, Jinwoo Ma's figure suddenly appeared behind Virtus. Then a brand new fusion technique struck him hard. That debt from that day is now repaid. This sent the somewhat disheveled Virtus into instant rage. "A bunch of ants, I'll tear both of you to pieces." At the same time, Leviathan, who witnessed everything, suddenly sensed something amiss. An individual created through reconstruction actually possesses personality. Do you know about this? Hearing this, Mulander immediately revealed an intriguing smile. It seems all brothers except Leviathan have some clue about his true nature. Speaking of which, he suddenly shifted his gaze to Leviathan. Haven't you ever questioned your own existence? Why do you differ so much from us, your fellow race? Why are only you bound by rules, so greedy? Saying this, he began recounting something that happened long ago. On the giant brain planet, Mulander finally found that familiar figure, N-Sapien Zera. Brother, are you still dissatisfied with the establishment of the Galactic Alliance? I think you can now view it with a more tolerant perspective. Zera shook his head helplessly. My thoughts will never change. Cosmic beings have always evolved continuously for survival, so protecting these civilizations with an alliance fence means they won't understand the necessity of evolution. Saying this, he pointed to somewhere in the giant brain. Those civilizations have worked on the collective of knowledge for decades, but false peace has made them complacent, even weaker than before. This is exactly what I most feared would happen. If in the distant future we don't reach immortality, won't we just watch helplessly as the universe regresses countless times? Speaking of this, a hopeful light suddenly gleamed in his eyes. But now there's no need to worry, I've planned everything. But when the plan was actually implemented, it faced condemnation from everyone. Is this your so-called plan? You actually used other civilizations for living experiments. Zera scoffed at this. We're about to reach the immortal realm. The key to immortality lies within an ancient creature named Fremor. Once we unlock this secret, we'll no longer be false gods, but become true gods ruling over all. Mulander immediately drew his sword. This ends here, brother. That so-called immortality is pure sophistry. The planet Nelfian people you corrupted for experiments are trying to abuse their authority to attack the Alliance. Don't you realize this will plunge the entire universe into great catastrophe again? Zera smiled wickedly. That would be the perfect ending. I told you the universe evolves in crisis. Since the cosmic war ended, I've been anticipating this day, now finally reaching incomplete immortality. Speaking of which, his hand suddenly gathered black energy. While slowly devouring himself, he left behind a meaningful message. Brothers, I will definitely return, and I'll wait for you at the summit. Hearing this, no one thought he was joking, because besides his evil thoughts still remaining here. After reconstruction, his data was also transmitted through the giant brain to somewhere in the universe. This made Mulander worry, meaning that guy is still alive. He will definitely stand before everyone again with so-called immortal power. Now Panin finally woke up from unconsciousness. Seeing this, the planet disc person quickly ran to his side. Pull yourself together, Panin, it's too dangerous here, let's leave quickly. While confused, a giant python's corpse suddenly crashed in front of him. When he looked up, he discovered Ackerman and Version were engaged in fierce battle. But compared to this, the disc person had something more worrying. That was the destructive energy he had detected in advance. The God's Enforcer released just one skill, instantly raising the entire space's temperature to 3,500 degrees. Yet the Earthling from a lower civilization not only didn't die, but healed at a visible rate. You perishable ones dare call yourselves gods? After Virtus was completely enraged by Jinwal Ma, he recklessly released his strongest attack, Photon Hell. Looking at the Earthling burned down to white bones, Virtus smiled smugly. This skill can unconditionally maintain the temperature of the space dozens of kilometers around me at 30,500 degrees. At such high temperatures, not only life forms, but even the oxygen you Earthlings need will burn completely. So regret your arrogance forever. Saying this, a figure suddenly attacked from behind. Fortunately, Virtus had sensed it early, while punching the stitched monster back. He also showed a surprised expression, actually able to move within Photon Hell's space. Indeed, the gods had a reason for sending me here. Hearing this, the stitched monster scoffed. They're just a bunch of perishables, yet dare claim to be gods? But as soon as he finished speaking, Virtus instantly struck with his fist. Just a moving maggot who gave you the courage to blaspheme the gods. The stitched monster first broke free from control, then revealed the secret behind the Photon Hell skill. Archipos Constraint is power that mixes several abilities that violate natural laws. Although very powerful, once activated, the caster is subject to corresponding constraints. And through those 2 rounds just now, I've understood everything. When your Archipos Constraint activates this power, you can't use other abilities, right? To this, Virtus snorted coldly. So what if you figured it out? Saying this, he shifted his gaze to Version, who had been burned to nothing. No life form can withstand the heat wave in Photon Hell's space. You can still breathe now only because you have regenerative abilities. But even so, once your energy is completely depleted, the moment you stop recovering will be when you say goodbye to this world. The stitched monster couldn't help but ask back, do you still think this is just ordinary regenerative ability? Regenerative ability is just one of the very inefficient abilities. If 20% of the body is destroyed, regenerating that part requires consuming 20% of energy. But my immortal power is completely different from such things. No matter how my body is damaged, the energy needed for recovery is only 0.01%. Moreover, as it continuously regenerates, my body will evolve according to the environment. I'm sure it won't be long before it adapts to this heat wave. Hearing this, Virtus seemed to understand something. The stitched monster immediately confirmed his thoughts. That's right, this ability is also a type of Archipos Constraint. It's also the power this body needs to spend a lifetime pursuing, Immortal power. Having said this, the fully recovered stitched monster launched an attack. However, Virtus looked toward Jinwoo Ma, attacking from behind. Does that Earthling's regenerative ability come from the same source? At the same time, although Mulender, who witnessed everything, was also surprised, he still had complete confidence in Virtus's strength, because he knew very well that everything Virtus wore was suppressing his great power. That initial photon hell was just an insignificant skill for Virtus. At this moment, Virtus, having released all restraints in the arena, instantly reversed the situation. You said restoring your entire body only consumes 0.01%, right? In that case, I'll kill you 10,000 times within photon hell. The truth behind Jinwoo Ma's regenerative ability finally surfaced. The clue's direction was actually related to the stitched monster that looked identical to him. What kind of collision would these two beings of the same origin ultimately produce? After Virtus released all restraints on himself, the situation on the field instantly changed. Seeing this scene, the severely injured Panin got up from the ground with unwillingness. I can't be eliminated like this. I still have a mission to save my people, so I must defeat that monster. Having said this, he activated the power of darkness. Immediately, Virtus on the battlefield was firmly bound by this power. At the same time, the live broadcast signal outside the arena suddenly cut off. While the audience was confused, Kulak couldn't help but worry about Panin's safety. At this moment, a voice suddenly rang out. "Don't worry, your big brother will definitely be fine." The speaker was Agni, who had once been defeated by Panin. "I guarantee in the name of possessing the universe's strongest flame that your planetary representative won't be defeated so easily. After all, he once withstood my flames." At this time in the arena, after seeing Pan on display cosmic power, the stitched monster immediately recognized this as an experimental subject created by the Nelfian people. Although knowing it was a nearly perverted experiment, he didn't expect they could survive in such high temperatures. However, just when the stitched monster thought the outcome was decided, Virtus not only instantly withdrew Photon Hell, but also flashed to deliver a heavy blow to Panin. "A bunch of inferior beings. Now I shall bring down divine judgment upon you." As energy continuously gathered in his hands, the stitched monster immediately saw through everything. Is he planning to condense light energy density to the limit and destroy this entire space? While confused, as the live broadcast signal was restored, the severely injured Panin immediately made a major decision. Since it's impossible for me to survive and save my people, then I must prove that we also possess the power to fight against strong enemies. Thinking this, he slowly raised his right hand. The next second, countless dark energies rapidly converged toward the energy light sphere. "Didn't I tell you before? Our civilization's power is the nemesis of you, the Helicionians." Speaking of this, his tone carried more relief. "Now, I can finally properly convey to my compatriots that we also possess great potential to fight the strong. With such potential, we can also dominate our own civilization's destiny." Now seeing the increasingly dire situation, Virtus's face showed fear. "Stop. If this continues, we'll both die." To this, Panin just laughed heartily. Thus, after an earth-shattering explosion, as the smoke slowly cleared, both figures had completely turned to ash. However, compared to the audience's shock, the stitched monster's mouth revealed an intriguing smile. "Although this experimental subject's ability exceeded its own limits, my thinking was indeed correct." Saying this, he shifted his gaze to somewhere in mid-air. "Did you see, brothers? All creatures evolve when facing death, although these lower civilizations are now your toys. With this evolution as an opportunity, the entire universe will repeatedly fall into death. Finally, you who sit steadily at the summit will also experience such changes when facing death threats." Having said this, he looked toward the fully recovered Jinwoo Ma. "My vessel, have you come to personally return the power?" This left Jinwoo Ma completely confused. "What are you talking about? Who exactly are you?" The stitched monster couldn't help but chuckle. "Haven't I always lived inside your body? Now you should know who I am."